Why? Is it because this is the bedrock of our society? Oh, man. See, there's no movie about the beginning of the Bible, but I still know that part of it. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
You do. You think you do? Let's fucking dive in.
No, I know the Bible. There's a dude and a girl that got leaves on their private bits, and then there's a snake, and I don't know. Apples.
Right. Yeah, apples.
Apples, man.
Never says apples in the thing.
What?
Never.
It never says apples?
No. It's just a fruit.
Okay. All right. So before we even start, I got questions.
Chapter 1, verse 1.
Chapter 1, verse 1. Genesis. The book
Nothing
of Genesis.
exists.
Dope.
Except God.
Oh. Well, that already starts a lot of questions.
And then God's like, more shit should be.
I mean, I get lonely.
Yeah.
No, I've played Sims.
Okay, yeah. So no, he simsed the earth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. And it all makes sense so far. Apparently there was no light for a while. Mm-hmm. And then God said, let bright lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. So
I don't think that's the quote. I just looked at it, and that is exactly what it said.
Exactly what it says.
That is what it said.
Day 6, God's like, land stuff now.
Shit.
And make sure that they can each recreate themselves through the fucking.
You gotta be fucking.
You gotta be fucking.
Wait,
except if you're people.
No, you can't do
no fucking.
No fucking.
Unless it's the Old Testament and you're related.
Oh, that happens.
A lot.
Oh.
A lot. Day 6, he makes people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're masters over all life. The fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and the livestock and the wild animals, and the small animals.
Okay.
We own all of the things.
That seems like a lot of pressure.
It does.
Can I just not?
And then on the 7th day, he was like, I'm tired. So we stopped for a while. Because it just said he made both men and women, right? Like, it literally said that. Okay.
Yeah.
So then it moves on, and it's like, okay, so there's no plants or grain or anything like that going on, even though he made them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's none of that now. In this next chapter. We're in chapter 2 now. We just got to chapter 2.
Okay, cool.
So now there's no plants.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, but there were just plants.
Because God hadn't made rain yet.
But you just said there was water.
Yeah, but there's no plants and there's no rain.
There's no planets?
No plants.
Oh, I think you said planets.
No, yeah. I mean, we don't even get into the galaxy. Probably because the people that wrote this book didn't know there was a galaxy.
Salty Quin.
Then there's rain again.
Okay.
It's Garden of Eden. Maybe you've heard of it.
I haven't. I have. No, I haven't.
Okay.
I have.
God made man from the dust of the ground. It says that.
Oh. Made of dust.
We're dirt people.
Dirt people.
It says he placed the man that he had created in the Garden of Eden, so I don't know if it's supposed to be like he picked him up by his little collar and it was just like, boop, you're there now.
like in Willy Wonka,
yeah.
When he picks up Mike TV.
To the center of the garden, he placed the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Especially because this is an old book.
Very old.
This is like one of the older ones.
One of the older books. Not the oldest. By a long shot.
No, I mean, maybe. I don't fucking know about books. Is it like the oldest book?
I think just about, yeah. God placed man in the Garden of Eden to tend to it and care for it. And he said, you may eat freely of any fruit in the garden, except the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of its fruit, you will surely die.
Okay, I'm not going near that fucking tree.
But why is the tree even there?
I don't know.
Isn't it like the dickishest move in the world?
I mean, it's up to that point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's been 6 days. This is the dickiest thing anybody's done. It's such bullshit. Why is it even... Why did he make it?
Why? Why did he make it? Oh, man, you know what? Man, fuck, man, shit. You know what I'm saying? Man, like, fuck, man, shit. Fuck. You know? Be like... Shit, man, fuck, you know, man, fuck. I don't know, fuck. I don't know why, but I don't know a lot of things.
That's fair.
I hate Granny Smith. I'm going to kill you for 1,000 years now. I would be so much
Crusades.
more... And there it is.
This is my favorite part of the entire book of Genesis.
This is it coming up?
This is it coming up right here.
All right.
And it's because of the implication.
Okay.
God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him. So the Lord God formed from the soil every kind of animal and bird. He brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. Adam chose a name for each one. He gave names to the livestock and all the other, just, doing all the shit.
That sounds like a great time.
It does. It gets weird.
Okay. I'm nervous.
There were still no suitable companions for Adam.
Oh, man.
So the Lord God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep and took one of Adam's ribs, closed up the place from which he had taken it. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib and brought her to Adam.
So we got to talk about all that now, don't we? There's a lot to unpack.
How'd that conversation go?
Oh, which conversation, Quinn?
The one where Adam goes to God and he's like, "Hey God, so just checking in. I was hanging out with the animals and doing, the stuff that you asked me to do. All the stuff that you asked me to do.
I fucked every animal you could possibly imagine.
And none of them are good.
Fucked them all.
I need something to fuck.
I fucked every animal.
And none of them liked it.
I kissed some
I
of them.
got kicked by a horse in the dick. The cat, that's a cat, by the way, scratched the shit out of my balls.
Oh, dude. Dog. Fuck that one, too.
He was weirdly cool with it.
Didn't seem to love it, didn't seem to hate it.
He just kind of was there. He was present.
Gave me a look that said he was sad, but I blatantly ignored it.
Yeah, and just...
So, wow. Mm-hmm. That is a whole lot of information.
Uh-huh.
Really just snuck in.
Uh-huh. And then really quick, she's like, none of them were good companions, move on.
Because it mentioned the naming part.
It did.
So it's like, oh, he was naming them.
Right.
This one's
But
named
he was
Susie, and I love her. Man, like, this is fun. So, like, it could have been years, centuries even, of Adam fucking animals.
Everything.
He was in the ocean for a minute, definitely.
Well, he had to name the blue whale.
He had to name the dolphin.
Yeah.
Had to name a zebrafish.
Uh-huh.
Had to name he had to name a sea urchin.
That one hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, do. Sea urchins have names, though, don't they?
Because Adam was committed to his job. I don't love this work, but I care about it.
Who else is going to do it? What I'm getting at is, so that wasn't a sin yet.
Apparently not.
It became a sin.
Well, no, because they couldn't sin yet. There was no sin because they didn't know the difference between good and evil. Hence the tree.
Oh,
yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Does any of this make sense? So yeah, after Adam fucks all the shit, God makes a woman, and Adam exclaims, "At last, a vagina that's for me."
We're gonna ignore the part where he already made men and women, and just talk about Adam sitting alone at night by himself, just like, I wish I had a partner with udders, but like on a person body, and like a vagina of a goat, but on a person body.
And Eve just has her back on him, like, this motherfucker, I swear to God, I'm right here.
Oh, hey, I forgot you were here.
I have to go out to the barn. Another hard day of naming animals. I know it's been a minute since you and I have been intimate.
You've already named all the animals.
There's more. There's got to be more. God made so many. Adam's super stoked because he found a good vagina finally.
At last.
So she'll be called woman because she was taken out of a man. This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Oh, also Adam and his wife.
Oh.
His wife.
Not gonna take her out on some dates?
Nope.
Also technically sister?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Just laying the groundwork. Oh, the serpent was very shrewd, this says. Snake goes to Eve and just goes, really? God said you can't eat that? And Eve is like, yeah, no, we can't eat the fruit. And the snake's like, fucking why? And Eve's like, well, because it's going to kill us. So the serpent says, you won't die if you eat the apple. Because then he was like, why can't you eat the apple? And Eve's like, if we touch it or look at it or breathe on it or think about it, we'll die. Mm-hmm. And the snake's like, nah.
Cool. See that apple then.
Yeah.
I'm on her side.
Right? God knows that your eyes will be open when you eat it. You'll become just like God, knowing everything, both good and evil. The woman was convinced.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I would also be convinced.
Sound logic. Let's go for it.
No question, just like, no, you'll become God. Cool.
Yep.
Let's do it.
And then she ate some of the fruit and she gave it to her husband who was with her. So it doesn't make...
This is the way a 5-year-old tells the story. I love this. And the serpent said, well, you can eat from the tree because then God, you'll be God. And the woman was convinced. And she ate the apple. And then her husband, she gave it to her husband. And the husband was there. It's like, okay. All right.
So apparently he was there for all of it. So he eats it. And at that moment, their eyes were opened and they felt ashamed that they were naked. And so they make fucking fig leaf clothes. And then they heard God walking around the garden.
He's just hanging out.
He's just walking through.
It's like sitting on a park bench somewhere.
And he's like, sup, guys, where are you? And they're like, over here. And he's like, why? And they're like, no reason. He's like, you should come out. And they're like,
You guys sound like you have knowledge of good and evil.
And they're like, we hid because we were naked. And God's like, who told you were naked?
So God's kind of a perv.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I can't move past this, but I think God wanted to watch Adam fuck every animal. I can't get past that part because they really got past it and I refuse. I'm going to die on this hill where Adam fucked every animal. In Bible canon.
So they ate the fruit, and God says, how could you do such a thing? And the lady goes, the serpent tricked me.
Wow. Okay.
It's the shittiest trick ever. You want to do this? Uh-huh.
Also, way to throw the fucking snake under the bus, man.
Right?
Take some accountability, Eve.
No, she's just the woman.
They haven't named her?
No, she's just the woman.
Damn, Bob.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
fucked up.
Fucking shit.
The woman. Oh, that's so gross to say. That one snake? Aren't there more snakes?
No, it's all the snakes now. See, check this out. So then God says, because you've done this, you will be punished. You are singled out from all the domestic and wild animals of the whole earth to be cursed. You will grovel in the dust as long as you live, crawling along on your belly. From now on, you and the woman will be enemies, and your offspring and her offspring will be enemies. He will crush your head and you will strike his heel. Adam fully penetrated every living animal 2020. Then God goes to the woman and says, you will bear children with intense pain and suffering, and though your desires will be for your husband, he will be your master. That makes no sense. Because you listened to your wife.
Oh, man. That is...
And ate the fruits that I told you not to eat. I have placed a curse on the ground. All your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you. Oh, you will eat of its grains. All of your life you will sweat to produce food until your dying day. Then you will return to the ground from which you came. Then Adam named his wife Eve because she would be the mother of all people everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, why start questioning? I get it, dude. You're like, why start questioning things now? Yeah. I'm already...
And we're 3 chapters in of... Then God made him clothes.
Cool. Like, what are they wearing, though? So, wait, real quick.
Uh-huh.
Motherfucker Apple. Motherfucking periods and babies and shit to punish women. And then motherfucking, you listen to a woman. All right, so you're gonna work, and you're gonna work, and you're gonna slave away, and then you know what else? I'm gonna kill this fucking cow, and you're gonna wear shoes. Yeah. This is ridiculous.
Yes, I know.
How did this catch on?
I don't know. Then the Lord God said, "The people have become as we are, knowing everything, both good and evil. What if they eat the fruit of the tree of life? Then they'll live forever."
God, you inconsistent as fuck, my dude. Like, get your shit, get it together, figure it out. What you doing? What are you doing?
Oh yeah, God kicks him out of the garden, which apparently was not the original plan. Like he was going to torture them by making them have to work super hard to grow shit, but they could have stayed in the garden where it was like kind of safe-ish. But then he went, "Fuck! I made the eternal life tree," which he had forgotten about apparently. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry,
he's
you
been
guys."
busy. He's making a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so then he had to kick him out of the garden too. And after banishing them from the garden, the Lord God stationed mighty angelic beings to the east of Eden.
Cool.
And a flaming sword flashed back and forth, guarding the way to the tree of life. Chapter 4
Yes, I'm awake.
of Genesis.
I'm going to hold the Bible. That feels appropriate.
Yeah, do it.
So-
Chapter 4,
Go to the 4th chapter,
verse 1.
which is confusing.
Adam
'cause-
bangs his wife for the first time.
What? That's in the book? That's not in the fucking book. Now, Adam slept with his wife. That is exactly. That's like exactly what it said.
I know.
Okay. I'm gonna. All right.
The point of this is to point out the stupidity, but I'm not fucking with shit because I want you to know what this really says.
It's just so hard to believe. This is the bedrock of our society.
After the fucking, she gets pregnant.
Yep. Almost verbatim.
She has a son. They name him Cain.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has another kid, I guess.
When the time came, she gave birth to Cain. Later, she gave birth to a second son named Abel.
It seems like kind of a fucking throwaway.
It really does.
See, Abel was a shepherd and Cain was a farmer.
Okay.
It was harvest time, and for some reason, God gets gifts.
God gets gifts?
Yeah. And Cain brings farm stuff, and Abel brings the best sheep of his flock. And God's like, these
This
sheep...
says several choice lambs.
Yeah, like the best ones.
It's
Yeah.
choice. Dude, like a California
Yeah.
Dude, these waves
Yeah,
are choice.
USDA choice. And God's like, well, these sheep are dope, right? Like, these are cool. But the fucking, your wheat, that's bullshit, you idiot. I hate this.
This made Cain very angry.
Yeah.
And dejected. And then he's all like, why are you so angry?
Yeah. And Cain's like, I don't know. I only had 2 things to pick from. My dickhead brother who's older picked the cool thing first. I did what I could with what I got. And then Cain goes to his brother and he's like, hey, bud, you want to go for a hike? So then God's like, hey, Cain, have you seen your brother around anywhere? Like,
Don't ring a bell.
No, he was the guy that he sacrificed some sheep to me, and they were awesome sheep.
I don't know what sheep are.
Yeah,
I've never seen a sheep.
you know what sheep.
Can't think of a sheep.
I feel like you're making this difficult for both of us.
Adam knows what a sheep is. He
He
named him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I try not to think about the naming anymore.
We all do.
God's like, hey, Cain, you murdered one of 3 people that exist, or one of 4 people. You gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna mark you as a murderer, and fuck you. And Cain's like, bro, what about all the other people in the world? Because you remember how there's only 4 people?
Yeah.
No, there's other people apparently too.
My punishment is too great to bear. You have banished me from my land, and from your presence you have made me a wandering fugitive. All who see me will try to kill me. Yeah, who's that all?
Uh-huh.
And the Lord replied, they will not kill you, for I will give 7 times your punishment to anyone who... What? This is all very confusing.
Yeah.
But, like, that was, like, the whole... They really should put, like, a timestamp here.
Uh-huh.
Right, it's like, oh yeah, Adam and Eve are like in their 70s now, and God went out and like
Oh, you
made
you
Amsterdam.
think
And
70s old? Go on.
no, I'm not. I'm just like, wait. I don't.
Don't look ahead. Don't ruin it for
No,
yourself.
that's not. That's
Don't.
not. Killing in the Crusades.
And then Cain wanders to the land of Nod. So Cain bangs his wife.
What? Okay, fine. That should be the name of the show instead. Just, okay, fine.
Yeah, it should be. They have a kid, which is not surprising from the banging.
What? Who is his wife?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Fine.
Cain founds a city and names it Enoch, like after his kid. He's like, you have a whole city now after your name. Enoch has Irad. Irad has Mehajael. Mehajael has Methushael. Methushael has Lamech. So Lamech married 2 women.
Okay, fine.
Accents.
Ada sounds better.
Yeah, it sounds more modern. So she has a baby named Jabal.
Okay.
He was the first herdsman to live in a tent.
Why even put that in there?
Because that was the only thing he did with his life. Was he invented tents 5,000 years after it was acceptable for tents to have existed.
He had a brother named Jubal.
We're getting to him.
So J-Ball's in a tent.
J-Ball's in a tent. Jubal was the first musician. He invented the harp and the flute.
Why is this in here?
I don't know. Zillah was the other wife. She had Tubal.
No, she did not. She did.
Lamech comes home one day randomly because these are Lamech's fucking kids, but now we're back to him. But he comes home one day and he's like, hey, ladies, a kid attacked me, and so I murdered him. And because I am Cain's kid, no one can touch me because God will punish them 70 times instead of 7 because I'm a fucking big dick swinging badass motherfucker.
Yep. Does it come up later?
No.
What?
Mm-mm.
There's no, like,
No.
this isn't.
No.
So it's like, oh, Lamech's got a couple of kids,
Yep.
Tubal, Jubal, Dubal, Fubal, and then he comes home one day. He comes home and he's like, hello, my wives. I have killed a child today. This is insanity. That's just a verse in the.
I know.
Like, I would. Oh my God. Oh, fucking please let someone come up to me and be like, what is your favorite Bible verse? If they ask you what your favorite Bible verse is, say Genesis 4:23. Dude, what's Genesis 4:20? Blaze it. Ada gave birth to a baby named Jabal. He became the first of the husband to live in tents. I'm having opinions about Bible verses because of people living in tents and killing children. This is the Bible.
Adam bangs Eve again.
What? He's not dead. It's been 5 generations. 425.
Yeah, and they
Genesis
have a son,
4:25,
they
if
name
you
him
wanna-
Seth, and that means granted because he was the Abel replacement. Eve literally is just like, oh, thank God, I got a refund on my kid, and now we use it to get a new one. When Enosh was alive, that was the first time that people began worshiping God.
The timeline is all over the place.
I know.
What were Adam and Eve doing?
Adam fucked Bigfoot.
Adam fucked Bigfoot, dude.
Adam fucked Bigfoot.
That's in here. The Bible.
When Adam was 130 years old, his son Seth was born, and then Seth was very much his father. After the birth of Seth, Adam lived for another 800 years. He died at the age of 930. When Seth was 105, his son Enosh was born. After the birth of Enosh, Seth lived for 807 years. He had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 912. When Enosh was 90 years old, his son Quin was born. After the birth of Quin, Enosh lived for 815 years. He was 905 years old. When Quin was 70, he had kids. He was 840 when he died. When Mahalalel was born, he was 65, and his son Jared was born. After the birth of Jared, Mahalalel lived another 830 years. He died at 895. When Jared was 162, his son Enoch was born. After the birth of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years. He died at 962. When Enoch was 65, his son Methushael was born. After the birth of Methushael, Enoch lived another 300 years. He died young, 365. He also enjoyed a close relationship with God throughout his life, and then suddenly he disappeared because God took him. When Methushael was 187, his son Lamech was born. After the birth of Lamech, the tent guy, fuck tents. Methushael lived for another 782 years. He had other sons and daughters. He died at 969 when Lamech was 182. Like 182. His son Noah was born. Lamech named his son Noah, for he said, he will bring us relief from the painful labor of farming this ground the Lord has cursed.
After the birth of Noah, Lamech lived 595 years. He had other sons and daughters. He died at 777. By the time Noah was 500 years old, he had 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You got any questions?
Okay, fine.
You had a single question about the totally reasonable thing that I just told you.
I'm going to bypass a lot of questions to get to one question. That's actually, I think, a pretty good question.
Okay.
So all that happened. Right.
162-year-old man had a child going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, it's all there.
I know.
It looks insane when you just look at it.
But it doesn't sound insane when you hear it.
No, it sounds insane when you hear it. It sounds fucking insane. He died at the age of 930. What happened that we don't live to the age of 930 anymore?
So it made God upset because people found other people attractive, chapter 6, verse 2, and they married them. And God was like, fuck that shit. You can't marry who you want.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. There it is. The answer's right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And so God decides that people live for too long and they're annoying.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so he's like, in the future, instead of 1,000, people are going to live like 120. Chapter 6, verse 3. There were giants because angels banged humans, and then the humans had giant babies.
Are the angels giant?
Oh.
How big? Okay. Okay. Fine.
The translation in that book says, in those days and even afterward, giants lived on the earth. For whenever sons of God had intercourse with human women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes mentioned in legends of old. Chapter 6, verse 4. Angels fucked ladies, and ladies had superhero giant babies. I swear to fucking God, all of this is fucking real. What? So yeah, God just decides everybody's evil. He's like, all these assholes are evil. Chapter 6, verse 5. And he says that he's sorry he made any life.
Wow.
Including animals and birds. Even though God wants to murder everything on the planet, he's cool with Noah. He likes him. Noah's chill.
What did Noah do?
Oh,
okay.
It doesn't say. It says like he was a righteous man, but it doesn't describe what people did that was not righteous.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine.
So he was just like more chill.
Sure.
So God goes to Noah. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna kill everything except for you." And he's like, "You want to build a boat?"
Yeah, I'll build a boat.
Cool. So it needs to be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet tall.
Wait, it has the measurements.
6'14".
That doesn't seem big enough.
It doesn't.
So you need to fill up the boat with 2 of every animal.
Yeah.
In order for them to procreate, so they can survive.
Right.
The whole flood seems kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but dramatic.
You are asking a question that I did not even think about when I was doing these chapters. I was like, there was so much bullshit leading up to it that I didn't even think about, well, yeah, why the fuck would you just start over? Like, you hate it all.
Yeah. But you're going to keep it all.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's not even a hard reset.
No.
No.
It's a soft reset.
So Noah did everything exactly as God commanded him. That's it. He just did it.
Yeah.
No problem.
No.
Just done.
Yeah.
No, just okay.
Yeah.
It's done.
So in addition to everything else, you have to bring 7 pairs of all the animals that I say it's okay to murder to make me happy.
What?
Chapter 7, verse 2. 7 pairs of the animals that I have approved for eating and sacrificing.
Then select 7 pairs of every kind of bird.
What the fuck? Why?
Why are you so hung up on the birds and animals being separate?
That's a no. I'm past that. It's fucking stupid, but it's fine. But why do you need 7 pairs of every bird? No, it was 600 when the flood came. See, we have our triggers.
But he just said 120 before.
No, 500.
He said 120. That's how long people are going to live.
Yeah, but that was after this one.
But it's before it.
Right, but he's like after Noah. Like Noah existed. And God was like, well,
if Noah's 600, then his kids are going to be dying at 120. And they're gonna be on the fucking boat. They can't be Okay, fine.
Chapter 7, verse 19. The water, the flood has climaxed its flooding, and the water is 22 feet above the highest mountaintop. God remembered Noah. Chapter 8.
What else does he have going on?
So much. So after 150 days, the boat lands on a mountain.
What?
Then they waited another 2.5 months. And the water receded and they could see mountaintops.
But they were on the top of a mountain.
Yeah, but they couldn't see it.
But they landed on it.
Well, yeah, but no, but like.
Noah opened the window he had made in the boat and released a raven.
Like as though.
That flew back and forth until the earth was what?
Flew back and forth until the earth was dry.
I feel like the story of Noah's Ark is forgetting some very key elements. First of all, the exact measurements of the boat are in here. So if you want to go home and make your own Noah's Ark, you can. Wow, isn't that nice? Are you gonna do that? Because I feel weird now. Big ass.
Noah puts out a dove, and he's like, "Hey, dove, find land," and the dove doesn't. And then a week later, he's like, "Try again," and the dove comes back with an olive branch, and Noah's like, "Dope, it's working." And Noah's 601 now.
That was a year?
Yeah, it was a year.
That was 1 year.
Oh, it's been 10.5 months since the flood started.
Give me all these people's birthdays. I want to celebrate Noah's birthday.
Okay. So he has 601. It's been 10.5 months since the flood started. He sees the waters drying up, and then 2 more months later, the earth is dry. Then God tells Noah to get off the boat, and everybody gets off the boat. And Noah makes an altar and takes all the animals. They're like, "We made it!" and goes, "Fuck you, bitch!" and kills them for God.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So you remember earlier when I was like, God has certain animals that he gets an ultra erection for when they die in front of him?
Mm-hmm.
All those animals, I'm sure, were like, dude, we get to stretch our legs. We're off the boat. It's been a very stressful year. And God's like, yeah, that's what I thought, bitch. And then murders them so God can have a boner.
Wow.
Uh-huh. The Lord was pleased with the sacrifice.
Thanks. Yeah.
So the sacrifice process is they kill the animal and then they put it on an altar and burn it. Like the actual sacrifice is burning it.
Because they can't use it? Is that?
I don't know why, but like that's the actual process.
You have a burnt burger, it tastes terrible. I'm just kidding.
The Lord smelled the soothing aroma.
I don't like the word soothing in there.
I know, yeah. No,
that makes it very bad.
Yeah. When God's like, I'm not going to murder everybody again. That was the old me. It's not me anymore. He also says, even though people are evil as soon as they're born, every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood. The imagination of a man's heart is evil from his youth. Everything they think or imagine is bent toward evil from childhood. Those are all different translations of 821.
As long as the earth remains, there will be springtime, harvest, cold and heat, winter, summer, and day and night.
Dope! Glad we have summer.
I'm planning on having a collection of Bibles now.
So, at the end of that chapter, there were 8 people in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, because you know how God killed everybody.
Killed everyone.
And then there was Noah and his wife.
Right.
And then Noah's 3 kids and their wives.
Is this going to be one of those situations again where Adam and Eve were the only people and then there were other people and now Noah and his family are the only people and now there are going to be other people? Is that happening again?
Yeah, it's happening again, except this time God explicitly says, multiply and fill the earth. Which I did a quick Google.
Mm-hmm.
And the estimates I found say that to preserve genetic diversity and create a healthy species, you would need roughly 5,000 to 10,000 humans. Somewhere in that.
I'm going to be real honest.
Uh-huh.
My perspective on God, 6 pages into the Bible, doesn't really care too much about diversity.
God tells them that every animal will fear them and they're under human control.
Okay. Wait, what?
I love that you blindly accept it.
Dude, I'm like a full-fledged Christian now. Just like, yep, that makes sense. Okay.
But you're not allowed to eat animals that have lifeblood in them. Chapter 9, verse 5.
Oh, what? Mine says something different, but it's the same, and it's weirder.
What is yours?
And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother, will I require the life of man.
The same book? 9-5.
No, the roles are reversed now.
9-5 is actually the best one because it's all murder is illegal. Even animals that kill people are to be punished by death. The death penalty works on animals. So, like, a bear's going to maul you and you're going to kill it. And then other bears going to be like, oh, shit, that's what happens?
Ah,
Fuck, okay.
Oh, man,
No
we
more
can't do
killing
that.
people.
Can't
Shit.
be doing that. New bear law. Like 6 pages into book of Genesis. God is inconsistent as hell.
He
Are
did,
you
like,
making me an atheist? Because I wasn't. I was open-minded. I like the idea of magic. I want there to be a big man in the sky. But now I don't know. Now I'm angry.
In verse 15, God reminds Noah that the rainbow will remind God not to murder everybody again.
He's like talking to Noah. I shall put the rainbow in the sky as a reminder that I will not murder the world again. And Noah's like, dude, that's so nice of you to give us that. He's like, not for you. For me. Because I want to kill you guys. Wow.
Verse 17 says it again.
Oh, 7. Because 15, 16, and 17 are all saying it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I won't kill people. Okay, cool. Thanks, God. And this rainbow will remind me not to kill you guys again.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for promising that.
Every time I see all these beautiful colors, I will tell myself not to murder you.
I'm getting very
and everyone
uncomfortable
you know.
because I feel like you're reminding yourself a lot to the point where I'm wondering if this is actually going to work out.
Not going to kill you guys.
Is this our relationship now?
I promise I won't.
Just gonna say I won't kill you.
I'm not gonna do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should we go?
You should leave.
So after the flood, Noah's had a good long life, right? And he's like, I'm retired of the country. And he starts a little vineyard. And one day, not yet. And one day he drinks a little too much, as one is wont to do.
After you see the whole world die.
Right, exactly. And he goes to his tent, which took 7,000 years to invent. I will never let that go.
No, you shouldn't. Because what the fuck was cities?
And he passes out naked in his tent.
Yeah, that's par for the course.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
His son. And so he goes to visit his dad. And he walks into the tent. And he sees his dad's dick. And he's like, didn't need that shit. He goes outside and he tells his brothers, like, hey, guys, dad drank a little too much. We should go cover his dick. So his brothers pick up a blanket, walk into the tent backwards to avoid seeing the dad dick. And they come back out and they're like, hey, man, we covered his dick up. So it's all good. Like, we can dip out.
Bible?
And Noah wakes up and goes, are you telling my kid saw my fucking dick? I'm cursing every one of his children. The Canaanites are fucked forever. Fuck him for seeing my dick.
Noah from Noah's Ark.
Gets hammered in his vineyard, passes out naked in his tent. His kid sees his dick, and then he curses his kid's descendants forever. He cursed an entire bloodline because they saw his dick. That's all I've got. Like,
Wow.
I don't know if
Wow.
you have anything to contribute to that story.
What the fuck could I add to that?
don't
It's
know.
a brilliant story.
It is.
Oh my god.
Chapter 11. Everybody speaks the same language right now
Sounds
in
very
the world.
sounds very convenient.
It's super cool, right?
Yeah.
And everybody gets together to say the same language to each other. It's super cool that we can, like,
We can all talk. Yeah.
They say, we're also going to build a huge tower. It's going to stretch to the heavens. It's going to be super cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And we're going to, like, it's a community.
Yeah.
And then God pops in.
Oh, shut. Dude, can we just like do our okay, what's up? What's up? What's up? No, tell me what's up.
It's like, hey, it seems like you're doing cool stuff.
We're trying to do a lot of cool stuff. We have a lot of ideas.
Yeah,
and,
so just, no,
you know,
yep,
we're
yeah,
trying to, like,
yeah.
okay.
The stuff you're doing,
Yeah.
way too cool,
What?
way too quick.
What?
If you start doing
Quick?
stuff this cool
Quick?
now,
But it took like
think about the shit you're going to be able to do soon.
yeah, it's called progress. We're very excited about it.
I'm not cool with it.
Oh.
So now you all speak different languages. I'm fucking your shit up.
What? Dude, no, come on. Don't.
I can't understand you. You're speaking a different language now.
I'm speaking a different
You're
language
speaking
now?
a different language now.
What?
I have no idea what you're saying.
But you're talking to me.
You could be telling me to suck your dick right now. I wouldn't know.
I'm not though. I
Yeah,
would
but
never
that's
say that. You're
that's how I'm
God.
gonna take it. you
No,
know?
no,
So, you
no,
know,
we just wanted to,
I'm
like,
not,
we just
I'm
wanted
not
to
seeing
be-
any rainbows around here. Is all I'm saying. Maybe you want to take a walk, because I don't know what you're saying. So, yeah. No, probably not. God is a fucking cunt. Fuck him. He's an asshole.
He did make donuts though, and donuts are okay.
No, we made donuts. Read 11:6.
Man, now you're making. When you tell me to read something, that's how I know it's gonna be bad. I understand. I want
When-
to. No, you go.
When you get taught this shit when you're a kid, I'm not going to say God's a cunt again. When you get taught this shit when you're a kid,
Right.
what they tell you is that people thought that they were as good as, if not better than God.
And yeah, I remember hearing things like that.
Yeah. But even if it's not for God, even if it's just because, like, hey, we can do a cool thing,
Yeah.
and God's like, no, too cool. He's like the pitchfork of gods.
He's like the worst older brother.
Yeah.
When you're building a Lego set, and he just comes along and goes, "Nerd!" Just knocks your Lego tower.
I hate
over.
it so much.
Yeah. No, it's upsetting. It's upsetting for sure.
So at the end of that chapter, we get introduced to Abram.
Abram, you're saying?
Abram has a wife named Sarai. She can't have kids.
Wow. Okay. Fuck.
Abram has a grandfather named Terah.
Mm-hmm.
He takes Abram, Sarai, and Abram's grandson Lot to go to Canaan, which is now a place and not a person.
They should really. Oh, into the land of Canaan.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. But they stopped somewhere else and hung out for a while, and then Terah died. I wish there was more to that story.
There's not. I'm looking at it. That's,
No. Chapter 12. God shows up and says, hey, Abram, leave everything you have and go to a place I'm going to show you.
Dude, could you fuck off?
Dude, I want to show you cool shit, man.
You keep fucking up all the cool shit.
I'm going to show you more cool shit.
Like, dude, no, I don't.
But
I don't want to do that.
you gotta.
I don't
But
want.
you gotta.
What is your deal?
I just want to
Could
show
you stop for a fucking
I mean,
second?
I could, but I'm not gonna.
Oh.
Because check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. check it out.
What?
I'm gonna make you the father of a great nation.
Okay, I didn't ask for that.
But you're gonna get it. I told you cool shit, man.
I don't want this.
But you're gonna get it. So Abram says okay, and he's like, hey, Lot, come with me. Lot's his cousin.
Okay.
Or nephew. Cousin or nephew. Doesn't nephew. So they pack up all their shit, even though God said that he can't take it with them, and they leave, and Abram is 75. So yeah, they show up to a place where people already live. And God's like, hey, Abram, this shit's yours.
This is the second time this has happened
It happens a lot.
in this book.
Yeah.
But we're 9 pages in.
I
This
know.
is the second
I know.
time it's
I know. And then Abram builds an altar. 'cause
I
God
hate that
popped
I'm
in.
starting to get your anger.
Yeah.
I hate that like I'm slowly just turning into
I know. It's good.
it's just like
Yeah.
I think we might stop this podcast forever.
Nope, we're doing the whole thing. You committed. You signed a contract.
I did?
Yep.
Are you God now?
Oh, yeah.
You're doing it. I don't want to. Well, guess what?
It's still happening.
Fucking doing it.
Yeah, Abram builds an altar because God showed up.
Okay.
Yep.
Fine.
There is a famine in Canaan. So Abram says, let's get the fuck out of here because we don't want to hang out in this bullshit famine land.
But he rules it.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be there because there's a famine. There's
I
no
don't
food.
blame him. He never wanted to be there. As far as
Right.
from my perspective,
He had no interest.
he was hanging out with his family, doing farm stuff, probably.
So they go to they're going to go to Egypt to wait out the famine.
Mm-hmm.
And they're approaching Egypt.
Yeah.
And Abram kind of goes, hey, everybody, hold up for a minute. Just pulls his wife aside and goes, hey, you are so fucking hot.
Wow, that's really nice of you to say.
If we get in there,
Uh-huh.
everybody's going to fuck you.
Took a turn.
Like
took a real
everyone,
turn.
right?
What?
Right? Because you're just so fucking hot. And
I
the
don't
problem is, they're going to kill me
Another
because they want to
turn.
get you.
That's 2 turns.
I'm just telling you how the world works.
I know how the world works.
No, I don't think
honey.
you do. Because you're super hot and everybody's going to want to fuck you. And they're going to kill me to be able to fuck you. The only solution we have, and I mean the only solution.
I feel like this is going to be
The only solution we have is to tell everyone that you're my sister. So then they won't kill me. They might still fuck you, but they won't kill me.
Can I make a suggestion?
I really don't think it's going
Honey?
to work, but yeah, let's hear it.
We're doing a bit, so don't fuck you, okay? This is fun for us.
Sarai just goes, K. And the Pharaoh sees her and goes, holy fuck, that bitch is hot as fuck. I want her. And so all of his servants come over and they're like, ma'am, the Pharaoh wants you. And then she is taken to his harem. And Immediately.
Dude, your plan sucks.
Well, not really, because his only plan was to avoid being murdered. And he was not murdered. We don't know if he wouldn't have been.
So he
otherwise.
didn't care about his wife getting
No.
fucked. I thought he cared about his wife getting fucked.
No.
He just cared about getting killed.
Yeah. He was like, my wife is super hot. They'll kill me to fuck her. So let's say she's my sister, so they won't kill me.
Why would you go to that town?
That's another really good question that this book does not have an answer for. And the Pharaoh calls Abram and he's like, dude, thank you for the hot lady. This is awesome. Here's some horses. Here's some donkeys. Here's some gold.
Shit.
Here's a bunch of shit.
He's like a fucking lord now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Good for you,
1216.
Abram.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like the way this is phrased here.
Let's hear it.
And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses and manservants and man.
Did you say he asses?
Do you want to read it?
I do.
416, my dude. And she asses and camels. I don't think you have a real Bible.
Hashtag he asses, she asses.
Turns out, hashtag he asses, hashtag she asses.
So God pops in, and he curses Egypt because they took Abram's wife.
Wait, God, where are you at?
1217-ish?
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So God cursed the Pharaoh
Mm-hmm.
of Egypt
Mm-hmm.
because he
Mhm.
slept with Abram's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharaoh is all like,
The
dude,
fuck?
you didn't, why didn't you tell me she was your wife?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have slept with her.
Yeah.
Why'd you tell me she was your sister?
Yeah.
That was a bet. That
Yeah.
was your plan was to tell me that she was your unwedded sister so I wouldn't fuck her?
To be honest with you, if we can really just be real for a minute.
Yeah, let's be real.
Um,
Because I'm getting all kinds of bullshit. I got cursed by the Lord now.
To be honest with you, really my main priority was just not getting killed. I wasn't really worried about her getting fucked.
Dude, you're a bad husband.
I mean, I never said I was a good one. I'm just trying to tell you what my thought process was.
And you're gonna, wow, you really just threw yourself under the bus there, man.
Still alive. It's so, yeah.
Abram really kind of pressured people into fucking his wife.
He did.
For someone who didn't want people to fuck his wife.
Yeah. Remember Abram's nephew? He's
Yeah.
been there this whole time.
Just watching this happen.
Like,
The story of Lot.
he's heard all of this, never voiced concern, apparently.
I like
or was
Lot.
never listened
I'm
to.
a big fan of Lot.
They are super rich, both Abram and Lot. Just
Wait, Abram got to keep his shit.
Fuck.
Abram got to keep his shit because Abram was very rich in cattle,
Mhm.
in silver and in gold. Where the
Uh-huh.
fuck did he get the silver and gold from?
Well, I mean, he's a herdsman. And this is, shit you not, the first time a reasonable thing is done in this book.
ooh,
Okay.
ooh, yes. Tell me about it.
So, Abram and Lot are both herdsmen,
Okay.
and they've got cattle and sheep, and they're kind of business owners, so they've got their own, like, shepherds that work for and with them. And it's 2 sets of cattle and sheep grazing together. There's not enough land for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. And the herdsmen who work for Abraham and Lot are starting to fight with each other. So Abram goes to Lot and he's like, hey, man, this just isn't working out. There's just not enough space, too many animals. Love you to death. We need to go our separate ways. And Lot's like, you're right. This just can't keep going on. How do you want to do this? And Abram says, you pick where you want to go. If you want to take like the best land, that's totally cool. I got God on my side. We're going to figure it out. It's cool. And Lot's like, cool. So I'm going to go over here to Sodom, where there's a lot of like lush grass and like pretty stuff. And Abram's like, cool, we're just going to stay right here. And we'll kind of go over here. And Lot's like, cool, man, good luck. And then he leaves.
Wait, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's just a reasonable thing that happens.
I was waiting for that to be like, and then they fucking kill each other, and then the devil comes out of the ground and takes one of their dicks.
Just like the first reasonable thing that's happened.
Just a regular business transaction.
And then God pops in to be like, hey, Abe. Remember how I told you were going to have all this land?
You know, I do want to. Oh, that page is all kinds of fucked up. Someone did not like Psalms.
Psalms has some bullshit in it.
Okay, you just straighten that page out. I'm having a bad time reading this.
So Abram starts complaining because he's never going to have a family because he's like 80-ish at this point.
I thought Abram already had a family.
No.
What about Sarai?
That's his wife.
Sarai.
She doesn't count. She's a
Didn't have
woman.
kids?
She's a woman. No. No, remember when I told you like a million chapters ago?
It was like a page ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is. Yeah, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah, Sarai can't have kids.
And Sarai was barren. She
There you go.
had no children.
Yeah, so she can't have kids.
That was a page ago.
It's a page or an hour, depending on how you're measuring the time that this takes. So Abram starts bitching because he has no family.
Yep. Fair.
And Abram says that since he has no kids, one of his servants is going to inherit all his like land and
because he
property.
had manservants and maidservants.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He asses and she asses.
I tried so hard to keep it in. He asses and she asses. Because it didn't say he cattle and she cattle.
And God's like, bitch, I'm going to give you more kids than there are stars in the sky. Look up at the sky and see those fucking stars and be like, damn, that's a lot. I'm going to have more kids than that.
What?
I made God very aggressive for that.
God has been aggressive this whole time.
I made him tonally very aggressive. in that one
That's
thing.
very reasonable.
Abram replied, "O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since I don't have a son, Eliezer of Damascus."
Whoa, hold up real quick.
Yeah.
What good are your blessings if I don't have a son?
Abram's a prick, man.
I mean, someone needs to be a prick to God. He's being a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, but I feel like this
he's
guy's being
being
like-
a he-ass the whole time.
What good are all your blessings if I don't have a son? Since I don't have a son, Eliezer of Damascus, a servant in my household, will inherit all of my wealth. Then the Lord said to him, "No, your servant will not be your heir." Fuck that bitch. "For you will have a son of your own to inherit everything I am giving you." Then the Lord brought Abram outside, I don't know how, beneath the night sky and told him, "Look up into the heavens."
I just assumed this whole thing was outside. Because they mentioned when there is inside, and it's always a tent or a tower
Yeah.
that God hates.
No, it's-
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Now look toward the heaven
and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. Seed is sperm. Is it not?
I mean, well, yeah.
Is sperm thou not seed? Is thy seed now sperm?
Abram says to God, "How can I be sure that the things you're saying are true?"
This is indecipherable nonsense.
Chapter
Weird
15,
ass Bible.
verse 9. This is after Abram says, "How can I be sure you'll give me the things you promised me?" The Lord said to him, "Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon." Abram brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half.
What the fuck? What? I was trying, because I'm trying. Oh, okay, no. Go. What? What the fuck just happened?
Then birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away.
What? We'll be back after another break. I need to smoke cigarettes, weed.
Then Abram fell
PCP.
into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him.
Yeah, no shit. No fucking shit. A thick and dreadful darkness came over you, you bastard. You just cut a bunch of animals in half and then like feng shuied them. But you left the birds and you had to drive off a bunch of other birds of prey because they were like, oh, you just killed a bunch of animals. We want to eat them. We're vultures. That's what we do. They're like, no, get back. Get back. These are my dead animals arranged in a beautiful way to. What the fuck is this?
When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking firepot with a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces, like of the animals. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, "To your descendants I give this land from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river of the Euphrates."
Yo, fuck this book. Yo, fuck this fucking book, dude. Like, before I was trying to be all mild mannered and be like, I have a couple questions about this part. No, this is bullshit because none of this makes any sense. Like, I get why Christians cherry pick.
No,
Because
you
don't
have
want,
to.
You don't want this God.
You
This
have
God
to. No,
sucks.
yeah.
Because because this Bible, again, so if we take this Bible not as a joke, because we're not trying to.
Right.
This is a very important book to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I am genuinely trying to understand what's in here.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to do this show.
Right.
And you're trying to point out exactly what's in this book to
Right.
do that exact same thing.
Yeah.
So this book is extremely important to a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
This shit right here, right? Like looking at it objectively is a horrible God. It's
Yeah.
a terrible God. It's a bad God.
Yeah.
So if you want to cherry pick this out, that's fine. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's in here. It is right the fuck there. I don't like this one.
Let me tell you just a straight.
Look how far we are into it. And I hate it. This is mean. All of this is mean that we've read so far. I'm sure there's some really dope shit in here. Like when we get to the Jesus stuff.
You're reaching
what
hard,
book
man.
is Jesus in? There's no book of
Matthew,
Jesus.
Mark, Luke, and John.
The most boring names, because Genesis is a dope ass name. Amos, that's a dope name. Ezekiel, dope. Jeremiah, Psalms, Kings 2.
Second Kings. There's 2 books of Kings.
It's 2 books of Kings. What is that word?
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy?
I'm gonna tell you one more story, and then I'm gonna.
That last story fucking sucked.
I know we're gonna.
I am tired.
mean, this one sucks too, but in a funnier, in a funnier way.
That was just a fucked up story.
Abram still doesn't have any kids. Chapter 16. Abram's wife goes to Abram, and she's like, "Hey, you know how I can't have kids?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's this way it is. I've got a servant. You should just fuck her.
Yeah, all right.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Cool. I said you should.
Did you want to, like, be there for it or?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They'd rather you not.
That makes sense. Her servant's name is Hagar. So I just keep calling
Hagar
her-
the lady?
So Abram bangs her, and Hagar gets pregnant. Shocker. And then Hagar turns into a real bitch. And Sarai goes to Abram, and she says, "This is all your fault. You did this to me."
I got it.
I know.
I got it.
know.
For this part, I have to.
I know. Then Sarai said to Abram, "It's all your fault. Now this servant of mine is pregnant, and she despises me, though I myself gave her the privilege of sleeping with you. The Lord will make you pay for doing this to me."
Ooh, that's fantastic. Can I read you mine? Because
Yes.
mine is almost better. And Sarai said unto Abram,
I'm excited.
"My wrong be italicized, upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. My wrong be upon thee." That is the dopest thing I've ever heard.
Abram
Yes.
looks at his wife, and he's like, "She's basically your property. Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit."
What the What? This story. Sarai, Abram, can't have kids. Sarai says, go have a kid with Hagar. Abram's like, all right, I call her Sammy. But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face?
Like Sammy runs away.
Okay, I thought,
She's
I
just
thought
like, fuck the
Sarai
shit.
ran away for a second.
No. So she runs away, and then she goes out into the desert or whatever, and an angel of God appears, and he's like, "Hey, what's
Oh,
up?"
Hold on.
Yeah,
Wait. Let's talk about how this started.
Uh-huh.
What?
They
They
both
wanted
said-
a kid.
Yeah,
And she's like, we can have a kid if we have Sammy here.
yeah.
And then Sammy just waddles in because her name is Hagar. And I just imagine she's like 1,000 pounds. And no Hagar is under 275 pounds.
I think that's accurate. Yeah,
Legally.
Yeah.
Then take the kid. Hagar's a fucking maid.
Yeah.
In those days, she's less than property.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah.
less
She's
than a
basically a
cattle
broom.
because they can't eat the cattle.
Yeah.
They can't eat Hagar. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
she's garbage.
Yeah,
She's
so-
garbage meat.
She runs away,
Fair. I don't
Yeah.
blame her.
and then an
She's
angel
had a hard
pops in,
time. Okay.
and he's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Mm-hmm.
And Hagar's like, "Fucking this lady that owns me is a crazy bitch," and the angel's like, "You should go back anyways and submit to her." And then he's like, "I'm gonna give you lots of kids, like more than you can count." And then he says,
Do people want kids in these days?
Yeah, they do.
People really want kids because that's not how it is now.
"No, it's not."
Kids
And
are
then he
gross.
announces to her that she's pregnant.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fine.
And then she says and then the angel says that she has to name the kid Ishmael because he will be a wild and free spirit that is at odds with his brothers. And then in verse 13, it turns out it was God, not an angel. And then she called him the one who sees me. Abram was 86.
This is dumb.
No,
This is all dumb.
Mhm.
This is dumb.
that's stupid.
This is so dumb. I don't. What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
I didn't think I would be as angry as you when we were reading this. I'm so tired. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. I'm not trying to hurt feelings. This is bad. I don't like it. It's not. It's this book. These stories suck. I'm sure there's a lot of good in here, but we gotta get to it. You know. There are 50 chapters in Genesis. We are on 16. I just found that out.
Upset.
For those of you at home who fucking knew, thanks for telling me. For those of you who didn't, we're angry and heartbroken together. Let's get through it. We got to move along.
Abram's 99.
Okay. Okay, fine.
God pops in
He does that.
and tells Abram, "I will make you a mighty nation."
That's not what he says in mine.
What does he say in yours? 16:2?
Oh,
17,
no.
17:2.
I'm doing 17:1. He said he likes to declare that I am the Almighty God.
Oh, yeah. No, he says that in mine too, but just like whatever.
She's like, shut the fuck up. We know who you are. He's been in Abraham's life for a lot. I'm sorry, he's not Abram. Been in Abram's life like in 7. Any major crossroad, Abram has seen God.
Yeah.
We know who the fuck you
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Shut up.
What's more, I will change your name.
Yeah. All right.
Change his name to Abraham. That means millions of descendants because he couldn't have just changed Abram's name to mean that.
Nope. He's not God.
God says he's going to make a covenant with Abraham, I'm sorry now. And essentially the covenant is like, hey, I'm going to make you, like you're going to have lots of kids and you're going to be like the father of millions and generations and all that
Sure.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Fine.
promise. And then the human beings have to keep their side of the promise. And the way they're going to show that they're keeping their side of the promise, like they're being faithful to God, like, and the way they show their part of the,
Every time they're
Side.
faithful to God, something bad happens.
yeah. So, the way they show their faith to God this time is by cutting off part of their penis.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. That's a bad thing. What? Never read the part of the Bible where they talk about penises
That's
being cut.
exciting. I assume you know all this stuff because I know all of it, and I'm realizing now, like, you don't know any of this shit.
I have not read this book. You shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Yeah.
And
God made a mistake. He doesn't like the extra skin on the dick, and so he's just kind of passing it off. You guys take care of it. It's a buddy thing. I think buddies do for each other. We're buddies.
they're talking a lot about circumcision.
Yeah,
in
it's
this book.
it's the whole section. Like that's what it says. The sign of circumcision.
Yeah, it does.
Servants in the household,
I wa-
regardless of whether they were born in the household or whether they were purchased, also have to be circumcised.
Oh my
Um,
god. Okay.
so I guess that's kind of cool because they're part of God's like super special
cool?
people's club.
Is it cool?
No,
Is it cool?
No,
Is this
really.
cool? Is this awesome? Is this great? Soapbox stand. It's just weird.
Then God follows up that
Weird.
banger with also your wife's name is Sarah now. God's like, yeah, she's gonna be like the mother of kings,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Abraham's like, that's cool, but like we're old, and like what's the deal? And God's
He's
like,
96,
yeah,
90?
99,
Okay.
99.
99.
And then God's like, well, I'm God, I can pull it off. God's like, hey, you're gonna have a kid in like a year. Like it'll be about a year.
thought she was
like, this
barren.
time next year. Yeah, well, that like he's like that's the whole I'm God thing. Like I'm just like she's still gonna.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even though she's 90 and she's been
right.
barren her
yeah.
whole life.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then
where's
also,
Hagar at?
Well, actually, he brings that up and he says
shit.
that the kid that Abram had with Hagar, he's still gonna bless that kid. Like he's still gonna have a good life and like lots of descendants and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
But the kid that Sarah has is gonna be like a special kind of special, where he's gonna be like more generations or whatever.
That seems like the most fair thing that's happened
so far. Yes. So Abram was hanging out outside his tent one day and saw 3 people. And he ran up to him and was like, hey, why don't you fucking hang out and we'll make you food and wash your feet? And they're like, cool. So, yeah, so she does a bunch of shit for him and she makes food and brings it out to him. And obviously she's a woman, so she's not allowed to be anywhere near them. She's in the tent and they're like, cool. So we're going to come back about this time next year. She's going to have a kid. And she chuckles to herself. And then God shows up and he's like, hey, Abraham, your bitch laughing at me?
No. She's just
No, I heard that bitch laugh at me.
what? No, dude. No. It was just like what?
No.
No, I swear.
No, I said she was gonna have a kid, and she was like,
What? No. It was just like a.
I am God.
We know that. You don't have to say it every time. You know, we've hung out.
And I quote, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is there anything too hard for the Lord?
God, are you drunk?
Then the men got up from their meal and started on towards Sodom. Abraham went with them part of the way. Basically, God went to Abraham and was like, hey, dude, here's the deal. A bunch of people in a town called Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, Lot was outside Sodom
They're
for a minute.
super evil. He's like, God, if I go to the city and find 50 like righteous people, will you spare the city? And God says yes. And Abraham just keeps bargaining him down. He's like, well, what if I find 25? And God's like, fucking fine, okay. 10. The final number is 10.
There's a lot of bargaining.
It is.
It's because
So 2 angels. God sends 2 angels to Sodom, and Lot was there because he lives there.
yeah, that's where he's from.
And he's like, sup, guys? And they're like, hey, we're just hanging out, just like, whatever. And he's like, oh, cool, come to my house. Let me wash your feet.
What a nice guy.
Yeah. He's like, you can stay with me for the night and, get up in the morning as early as you want, get on your way, do your thing. But, like, come hang out at my house. And they say, oh, no, we'll just hang out in the city square for the night.
Okay.
Which is, like, kind of weird that you would just, like, want to hang out in the city. But, like, I mean, like, it's nice. There's like, oh, no, we're good. But Lot's like, fuck, come to my house. Like, you don't want to be out here. Quote, as they were preparing to retire for the night, all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out so we can have sex with them.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm so happy we're here.
What verse is that in?
Verse 5 of chapter 19.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
Yours says sex, though, right? Yours says the word sex.
Mine says the word
Yeah,
sex.
mine's older. It says no. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's the. I need to see the word sex written in the Bible. I need to give me your book. Give me your fucking book. Give me this piece of shit.
Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brothers, don't do such wicked things. Look, I have 2 virgin daughters. Do with them as you wish, but leave them
Christ, what are you doing? What?
They are under my protection."
What? What the hell, dude? What is this? Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Oh, good. I'm glad we clarified they haven't fucked yet. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. These men have no good in their eyes.
I don't know. They're like big cities at this point, I think.
They're still intense. They're still intense.
How can you knock on the door of a tent? Maybe this is a brick city.
Dude, who are those hot-ass guys you chilling with?
Stand back, the men shouted. Who do you think you are? We let you settle among us, and now you're trying to tell us what to do? We'll treat you far worse than those other men. So now they're threatening to rape Lot to punish him for not letting them bang the angel dudes. So
What? I am so glad that we got here.
I know.
I was like, nah, man, let's push through. It'll be good. It'll be good. It is great. Don't fuck my angels. Fuck my daughters. Man, they really don't care about women at all in
Not
this
at
book.
all.
Listen, if you ever feel like we haven't come a very far way as a society,
We've come some ways.
took us I'm not gonna say it took us a long
Wasn't
time.
fast.
No, it was slow. It was a slow burn, but this is bad. This is very mean towards women.
Oh God.
How could you be a woman and be Christian? I am sorry. But is that a hard stance? Because this is offensive. This is.
Yeah.
Does it get better in the New Testament?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, all right. Because this is a hard sell.
It's harder here. So they lunged at Lot and began to break down the door.
These are the horniest people ever existed.
But the angels reached out and pulled Lot in and bolted the door. Then they blinded the men of Sodom so they couldn't find the doorway. And they asked Lot if he had any other relatives in the city and said, get anybody that you care about and get the fuck out of here because we're blowing this place to the ground tomorrow. And so Lot grabbed everybody together. At dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Hurry, they said to Lot. Take your wife and your 2 daughters.
He still hasn't left by morning? What do you do? Fucking take a break from packing? What does he have to pack? Like,
Take a quick nap. Have
like
some coffee.
6 rocks?
Grab a snack.
Ooh, this is my favorite rock. I'm gonna put that over here. And you know what? I have. You guys ever hung out in this corner of the tent? Oh, you have because it's a tent.
The angel seized his hand in the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. They said, "Run for your lives, don't look back, escape to the mountains, or you will die." There's a small village nearby. Can I go live there? And God's like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Bargaining.
Yeah, basically. Like, as the city's being destroyed, he's like, can I just go to the city? I want to go live in the mountains. And God's like, yeah, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But as they were running away, Lot's wife looked back at the city, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Because God said, don't look at the city. Next morning, Abraham was up early, and he hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked across the plain to see Sodom and Gomorrah and solid columns of smoke. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe. Lot left Zoar because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave.
All right.
Took his 2 daughters
Sure.
with him. Because whatever.
The sacrifices.
Yeah.
Do they have names?
Nope.
Okay.
One day, the older daughter said to her sister, see? No names.
Gee. All right.
There isn't a man anywhere in the entire area for us to marry, and father will soon be too old to have children. Come, let us get him drunk with wine, and then we'll sleep with him. That way we will preserve our family line through our father. So that night they got him drunk. And the older daughter went in and slept with her father. He was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. The next morning, the older daughter said to her younger sister, I slept with our father last night. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him. That way our family line will be preserved. So that night they got him drunk again, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. As before, he was unaware of her lying down or getting up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. When the older daughter gave birth to her son, she named him Moab. He became the ancestor of the nations now known as the Moabites. When the younger daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Ben-Ami. He became the ancestor of the nation now known as the Ammonites.
What the fuck is this? Fuck you. This is awful. This is so bad. This is so bad. This is so. I hate it.
It's chapter 20 of Genesis.
Okay,
We're-
are not far.
Not at all. So Abraham is traveling with his wife,
Okay.
and they arrive at a new city. So Abraham pulls his wife aside.
Sure.
He's like, hey, remember how well my saying you're my sister plan worked last
He
time?
really didn't, though.
Uh-huh.
He's a real asshole.
So he does that again.
Cool. What? Why? Why? What? Why? It didn't work before.
He didn't die.
I'm really not understanding.
Like they get to the city.
Did that happen before?
It's like a bad sequel. And
it's when
and
the robots got nuts now and they're racist transformers.
and so the king takes her, and then God comes to the king in his sleep and goes, "You're a fucking dead man."
But God came to
Abimelech.
Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. Why does this keep happening?
I don't know.
How many more? I need to know 100% how many more times this happens in this book.
In this book, I don't know. And he's like, I didn't know. And
Whose wife is
and-
this? Does that
and-
happen?
No, he's just like, I didn't know. And God's like, and I quote, I know you are innocent. That is why I kept you from sinning against me and did not let you touch her. So God's the good guy in this. So God says,
Yeah.
give the wife back to the husband.
He doesn't even know who the husband is.
No.
Because Abraham's a stupid dumbass who's
Uh-huh.
just trying not to get murdered for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks having a wife will get him killed.
Yeah.
How many
Well,
people
she's
have
super hot. Apparently.
Pictures or it didn't happen. Come in with me while I get these packs of smokes. Hey, what's going on? Could I get the Cowboy Killers? Yeah, the red 100s. This is my sister.
What
Do you want to fuck her?
What the fuck?
Do you want to fuck her?
What?
Do you want to fuck my sister? No, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. That was very inappropriate.
Very.
Let me just the packs of smokes, please. Let me see if I have the change. Will you fuck my sister? Will you fuck her?
Verse 11, he assumed it was a godless place, and they would kill him for his wife. Verse 12, she is technically my sister. We have the same dad.
What just happened? What?
That's a plot twist right there. You just got Shyamalan.
They got me good.
I know.
Did not see that
Nope.
coming.
That was 20 chapters of buildup.
I really thought, genuinely, wow.
Yeah, if you had to make a list of things that you thought were happening.
Not that.
Nope.
Well, we're kind of related. It's like, oh, how are we related? We both have the same dad.
Yeah.
You are very related.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the second most related you can get.
yeah. That's real nice.
Then Abimelech says, look over my kingdom and choose a place where you'd like to live.
The bedrock of our society. This is the foundation on which we built a house that is America. And I have decided on this day, I want a new house. And mine,
It just says it.
so poetically says, and unto Sarah he said, behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver unto
not
all
100,
that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. This is garbage. This is, who talks like this?
Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and the other women of the household so they could have children. For the Lord had stricken the women with infertility as a warning to Abimelech.
But you didn't warn him. You just made his ladies infertile.
Yeah.
He didn't know why. You didn't tell him.
It was also like, I have to imagine this was like several days. It's not like they had time to notice.
And I didn't think about that. I just thought it was like permanent. I was thinking like God did it before.
Well, no, but like he shows up and he takes Sarah, and then God's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, bitch. And then Abimelech calls a meeting that could have been an email and then gives fucking Sarah back. And then God's like, oh, by the way, I cursed you. Earlier, he was like, you're gonna have kids one day. And then, Abraham cut the animals in half, but not the birds, and then scared the birds away, and they had his weird fever dream, and then God said, I promise. And then we moved on.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was
Upsetting
weird.
that you remember that. Huh?
Yeah, I don't like that I have.
See, now you briefly understand my experience doing.
Oh man, I forgot something probably pretty cool to remember that.
I know.
Like a cousin's birthday or something.
So God finally fulfills his promise after the second fucking weekend at Bernie style caper they went on. And Abraham waits 8 days and then cuts the little kid's dick off.
Okay.
Well, not, but the circumcising.
Right.
Abraham's 100. Sarah's
What?
pretty amped on the whole thing.
What?
Yeah.
I thought we were done with that.
No, God said 120. There's some rules-ish.
No, there's not.
I know.
How old is Sarah? Like 30?
No, she was 70 when she's probably in her 90s. So after a bit, Abraham throws a party for his kid. And you remember Sammy Hagar and her kid?
I do remember
Yeah,
Hagar.
sorry. So they're in the corner like fucking this stupid piece of shit.
Hagar
Fucking-
was invited?
She was there. Whether or not she was invited, she's like, it says like she was like off in the corner. It's like maybe they weren't invited.
Where?
21-9.
21:9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking.
Sarah sees that and she's like, that's not happening. So she goes to Abraham and she's like, get the fuck rid of that asshole and the fucking shitty bastard kid. I hate him.
This just sounds like every single party that my stepmom ever attended.
Yeah,
ever.
that sounds exactly right. And then Abraham doesn't really want to, but he does it anyways because God says you just can. It's fine because don't worry about it. God tells him that Isaac, the son that he just had, is going to be the son that fulfills the prophecy that Abraham's going to be like the father of millions. Oh, but God also says not to worry because Ishmael is going to be blessed and have a lot of kids too. So like God's going to take care of him basically is the message. He's like, it sucks, but don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So he sounds like a dad.
Yeah, he really phoning it in. Yeah. Really just kind of.
He's like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it. So he kicks him out. And then they go walking for a while, and then they run out of water. And so Sammy Hagar puts her kid under a tree where it's shady, and then wanders off and starts crying and goes, I don't want to watch my kid die. I guess I'll just go far away from him now.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets really dark.
That is very dark.
Yeah. And then God appears and says, don't worry, lady. I heard the kid crying. I won't let him die. God, and I quote, opens Hagar's eyes and she sees a well so they can have water so they don't die. Then Ishmael marries an Egyptian lady. The end. Kid crying.
And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of
what
the lad.
aileth me?
Where
Bitch, maybe
he
I'm dying in a desert.
is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation.
That's God's favorite promise.
And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water. What fucking bottle? And gave the lad a drink. I thought she left him.
She just went a little ways away.
Oh, she was like 10 feet away?
She didn't want to watch him die 2 feet away.
It's like when a 4-year-old says he's going to run away and then goes to the backyard and just starts crying. This is stupid.
It's awful.
And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer.
King goes back to Abraham, and he's like, hey, friend, let's be buddies.
Fine. All right.
And he's
The
like,
king's
but,
doing it.
hey, can you not lie to me again about shit?
I don't know if you met me, but I kind of am an asshole.
Yeah, but like just this, I'm just olive branch of peace.
Yep.
Right. That was
Sure.
a recent thing for us chronologically, so I feel like that's a point of reference you have.
Yeah.
Can you just not
Yep.
lie to me?
Oh, no promises.
I also love that it says about this time in both of our books. Like, around now.
It's kind of happening-ish now. Now, therefore, swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son. That's not a meme thing. That's what it says. Like, if you want to check it this time, that's not a meme joke that
No,
kids
that's
make.
actually in the book.
I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky. The Bible!
All right.
Talking about the Lord, y'all.
So, chapter 22,
Okay.
I get to just tell you this story because I know it. God pops in. Always a strong start.
I really should keep a tally of these. I think we're up to like 13 God popping in.
Probably. In my book, it says, later on, God tested Abraham's faith. I just like that it's later on. I like the time stamps.
Later. Now,
So-
but it's after the now that was before.
God comes to Abraham and he's like, hey, I'm going to need you to go ahead,
Yeah, whatever, dude. You know,
pop
I
out
got
to the
you.
store, grab a knife.
Yeah, okay. All right,
And,
weird start. Weird start. Don't.
Well, because the knife is part of the sacrifice, right?
I gotta sacrifice the knife. Okay,
no,
that's
no.
fine.
The knife is like a tool in the sacrifice process.
It can.
It has to be.
Does
I mean,
it-
how do you cut animals in half without a knife, man?
Do I gotta cut another animal in half, dude?
Kinda. Go ahead and pop
Again,
your kid
like it
on there.
leads to pardon
And
Pardon?
I'm just gonna go ahead and need you to sacrifice that kid to me.
Ishmael, right?
No, the good one.
Not Ishmael though.
No, the good one.
Does the altar need to be made of anything in particular?
Yeah, whatever.
But I gotta kill my son
Yup.
on it. Like the good one.
Uh-huh.
The one I love.
Yep.
Not the one I abandoned.
Nope.
The one that I actually raised as my own.
Yep.
He's already circumcised. Is that not enough?
Nope. No, I need the whole thing. He gets up and he gets a couple servants and he grabs his kid and he's like, "Hey, buddy,
Gonna kill you?
we're gonna go. No. We're just going for a hike.
It says here that
We're
you're
gonna go for a little
kill
hike.
me. It
We're just
says
gonna
here
go for a
you're
little
kill
hike. We're just
me.
gonna go for a little. Well, you're reading a book that we haven't written yet, so I don't know why you're reading ahead like you fucking know shit.
What's it gonna be?
It's the Lord will provide the sacrifice.
That doesn't make any sense.
It
Why
doesn't
would he
have to. Come
provide
on,
the
let's go.
sacrifice
Let's
if he's
stroll.
giving you the thing to sacrifice? It kind of
You would
moots the
think.
whole point,
You
doesn't
would
it?
think.
It
You
kind
would
of,
think.
it kind
Yeah.
of,
Let's just go ahead and get this wood
seems a
because
bit
we need
excessive.
the wood for the burning, right?
Is the wood the sacrifice?
No. It's just part of it.
I don't like where this is headed.
Well, you shouldn't.
Swear for God now.
Well, we see
Swear
that
for
God.
God.
We see that God is a man you should swear to. So I'm glad you did that.
And Abraham took the word of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they
Your
went.
book makes no
both
sense. Let me just
of
read you
them
mine.
I should really just throw this away.
You should.
This
Get a
is-
new
this
one.
Is, how does this? I got a broken Bible.
Get a new one. We'll leave that on the side. It's fine.
My Bible broke.
Then Abraham grabbed the knife, and he's like, "This is it, bitch."
What?
And then an angel of God comes down and goes, "No, no, 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 no. It's cool.
I wish I didn't throw my Bible.
We were just testing you."
And he said, "Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now, yeah, that's going to be inconvenient for us all, don't you worry. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me." I sound like fucking Dumbo, Jesus Christ. All right, so wait, I got a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
I fucking hate Abraham.
Yeah.
Abraham has done a lot for the Lord.
Yeah.
I feel like he's proven that he loves the Lord.
I mean, if we're being honest, all he did was make a small sacrifice. And
But he's done a bunch of shit, right? He's done that
Was he really done,
sacrifice. He made the altar. He went to a couple towns. He had people fuck his wife's sister.
I don't feel like God asked him to do any of that.
But he did it for God, right?
Did he?
And God is making him sacrifice Isaac to
Right.
prove that he loves him.
Yeah.
Hey, sacrifice your son to prove your devotion and love to me.
Right.
Okay? All right. Doesn't God already know?
Got to prove it.
But he's omniscient.
Got to prove it.
But he knows.
Prove it.
War
God
is war.
promises to bless Abraham richly because he was willing to sacrifice his kid.
What does Isaac get?
Shit.
Fucking Isaac just got traumatized for no fucking reason.
Your descendants,
No.
will,
What do I
will-
get?
No.
What is it? Listen, I know you.
I
What
will
what do I get out of that
I will
fucking
multiply
thing?
your descendants into countless millions, like the stars in the sky
Cool.
and the sand of the seashore.
Does nothing for me.
Well, I mean, I guess Isaac is one of the descendants.
He just gets to live.
Yeah.
So 23 now.
Sarah
We're on to
dies.
23. Sarah, what?
Sarah dies. She was 127. Abraham is sad.
Okay, so you said 127,
She was 127, yeah.
and Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah.
Same thing, less words.
Why does mine have so many words?
Because yours is fancy. It doesn't say king. Like, the elders. He goes to the elders of the land that they're nearby. It says, hey, my wife died. Verse 5. Hey, my wife died, and I'd like to bury her in a nice place. And
This is the first nice thing he's done.
the first.
And he's like 150.
He's like, hey guys, so like I spent most of my life just trying to get my lady banged by other dudes.
No. You spent all of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not all of it because like they weren't married for the first 40 of it.
You would have done it then too.
Yeah, but it didn't. Ephron was sitting there among the others, and he answered Abraham as the others listened, speaking publicly before all the elders in town. No, sir, he said to Abraham, please listen to me. I will give you the cave in the field. Here in the presence of my people I give it to you. Go and bury your dead. Abraham bowed again to the people of the land. He replied to Ephron, as everyone listened, no, listen to me. He insisted, I will buy it from you. Let me pay you the full price for the field so I can bury my dead there. Well, Ephron answered, the land is worth 400 pieces of silver, but what is that between friends? Go ahead and bury your dead there. So Abraham paid Ephron the amount he suggested, 400 pieces of silver. I was publicly agreed.
I don't even want to get into mine because
I
it's so
don't
much
either.
wordier.
I know.
My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? But this is like, no, I'll pay you. No, but I just want to bury my wife and like have it done with. And it's like, so you can just like, don't like, I'll pay you. It's like, no, you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to pay me. It's fine. It's fine. It's like I
fine.
would charge you $400.
Can I just
but
get, if you're bringing out the 400 enough?
I'm just saying. I just want you to know.
I'm gonna give you the fucking money and bury my goddamn dead wife who's still fucking dead, okay?
I mean, if that's what you want to do.
That's what I want to do. Shut your fucking mouth. My wife is dead. I'm 1,000.
I just gonna be really upsetting when you can't see any other king's banger, huh? Abraham is now very old.
He's been old.
I know.
How old is he now?
He's very old.
Fuck. All right.
And he goes to Isaac. He's like, hey, buddy.
What's up, man?
You should get married.
All right.
But you should go and you should meet some of my relatives and marry one of them.
No.
No, that's what you should do.
Those are my relatives too.
I don't see it like that.
Doesn't mean that's not how it is.
Doesn't matter.
You gonna kill me again?
I might. So Abraham sends his son back to like their homeland. He's like, hey, go hang out with some aunts and uncles, see what you can figure out over on that side of the pond. He goes to his servant and says, hey, you need to go find a wife for my kid. Go to my homeland and find a relative.
Man, he's just delegating shit now.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So he sends the servant out there, and the servant goes to the homeland, and he takes his camels, and they go to a watering hole, and he says to God, God, I'm going to wait here, and I'm going to ask each of the women that approach the well to give me water. And I would like to make an agreement with you that you will give me a sign. And the first woman to say, I will give you water and also give water to your camels, is the woman that Isaac should marry.
Very low standards.
Very low standards. Also, God says nothing.
The one time the motherfucker doesn't pop in.
Oh. And the servant's just like, cool, good enough. So he hangs out for a minute, and then this lady named Rebecca shows up, and it just so happens that she was a virgin and also beautiful. And then the servant says, hey, can I have some water? And she's like, yeah, I'll totally give you water. And also, I'll give you water for your camels. And the servant's like, oh, my fucking God.
Dude, that was so easy.
God, I did it.
When you lower your standards to the very, very lowest common denominator,
Yeah.
you're going to get a catch.
And then he gives her a nose ring and some bracelets. Whose daughter are you? Would your father have room to put me up for the night? And she says, my father is Bethuel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my grandparents are Nahor and Milcah, who are related to Abraham.
Yeah, no, you just said Nahor. Like,
Yeah.
That's Abraham's. So she's Isaac's second cousin?
First or second.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Way too close.
Super close.
Very immediate family.
Yeah, and Rebecca's like, hey, they've got room for you and your camels and stuff. You should come hang out. Rebecca had a brother named Laban, and he saw the nose ring and the bracelets, and he heard their story, and then he rushed to the spring where the servant was still waiting. But he was like, dude, why didn't you just come? And he was like, oh. And then he went with him. So then the guy comes back, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And the servant's like, I'm on a mission from God. And they say, what's your mission?
Is this Blues Brothers?
Yes, it is. That's actually the reference I was making. But also, it's in the book.
It's in the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy says, hey, look, I'm here to get a fucking bang made for my fucking boss's kid.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Right.
That's how things work now.
Then Laban, verse 50, if you're interested. Then Laban and Bethuel replied, the Lord has obviously brought you here. So what can we say? Here is Rebecca. Take her and go. So the servant takes Rebecca home, and she sees Isaac, and she's like, holy fuck, that dude's hot as fuck.
Oh, she's into Isaac?
Yeah.
She's into him.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. That's
That's
the first
nice,
time this has
yeah.
ever happened.
Yeah.
Where a woman's feelings were expressed and they were positive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming they just wrote that. I don't actually believe that that's what happened.
Can I just have this moment?
No, you can't.
I have to read this. I'm finding sanctuary where I can.
That's fair. When Rebecca looked up and saw Isaac, she quickly dismounted. Who is that man walking through the fields to meet us? She asked the servant, and he replied, it is my master. So Rebecca covered her face with the veil. Then the servant told Isaac the whole story. And Isaac brought Rebecca into his mother's tent. She became his wife. He loved her very much, and she was a special comfort to him after the death of his mother.
That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah. That's the end of 24.
That's the end of 24?
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. And Isaac brought her into his mother's Sarah's tent and took Rebecca. She became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his. So he fucked her he fucked his new wife for the first time in his mom's bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like either I ignored or just misheard or didn't hear what the fuck you said. The comforted thing was nice.
Yeah.
The I want to fuck you where my mom was is less nice. Also, I forgot and I just remembered they are related.
No.
Not a happy note.
No.
I'm looking for happiness where I can find it, and that's my problem.
So Abraham remarries.
Motherfucker's like 130.
But his kid took over the marital bed, and he's like, bitch.
Is that why he did it?
I don't know. I assume.
Seems reasonable. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
His new wife was named Keturah. She had Zimram, Joshkon, Medan, Midian, Ishba, and Shua.
I like those names. I like those names a lot.
Oh, but the nice thing is that before Abraham dies, he gives gifts to the sons of his concubines.
What do you mean his concubines?
Like all the ladies he was banging,
You only banged Sarah.
as far as you know in the book.
I fucking hate this guy.
No. But then he sent them far off to the east, away from Isaac.
The fuck did Isaac do? Isaac, man, fuck you, Abraham. I don't give a fuck about your ass, you piece of shit.
Abraham lived for 175 years.
Why?
He died at a ripe old age and joined his ancestors in death.
You don't deserve to join anyone, you sack of dog shit.
After Abraham's death, God poured out rich blessings on Isaac,
What about his other kid? Isaac's already been blessed.
like several times.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Ishmael has a bunch of kids.
Cool. Good for him.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
The best C one. Ishmael lived a total of 137 years.
Okay, well, my book says finally died. This book is sick of him.
Wow.
Oh. Rebecca's barren. They got really tired and just started reusing storylines. That's what happened.
So early.
And we're not that deep into the book.
Not at all.
We're this deep into the book, and that includes the credits.
This is saying page 36. I feel like it's generous.
21,
Yeah.
yeah, for me. So Isaac pleaded with the Lord to give Rebekah a child because she was childless. So the Lord answered Isaac's prayers, and his wife became pregnant with twins.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
easy, cool. Like that, it could have just said she had kids at that point.
Could have skipped past all of that.
Yeah. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. Her first kid was born. So they were twins, right? So they were born. The first kid was very red and very hairy. They called him Esau.
They did. That's what it says. Why? Don't know. Seems unimportant. Seems
It comes
weird.
in later.
Werewolf
weird
baby.
way.
Werewolf demon baby. All right. All right.
Then the other
cool.
twin was born, his hand grasping Esau's heel. They called him Jacob. I have an asterisk. One day, Esau is out. He's doing some hunting.
He's a skillful hunter.
He's a skillful hunter.
as I am reading along in my book.
So he's doing some hunting, and he comes home
He liked the open country.
because it was far away from all the bullshit he was dealing with.
Fucking Jacob ass.
And he's like, "Hey, man," to Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm super hungry. I've been out all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have some of the food that you're actively making? This seems to be for the family." And Jacob's like, "What's it worth to you, bitch?" And Esau's like, "That's a weird question. I don't."
Yeah, like how much are you willing to like give me for this here food right
And
now?
Jacob says, "Give me your birthright
Give me everything
as the firstborn son of our family."
that you are.
And Esau is so hungry that he
No.
says, "Okay." And then he gets some soup. So Isaac decides to wander off, find a place to go wait out the famine.
He's like 75 years old at this point.
No,
He
he's like in
can't-
his 60s.
He was 60 when they were born.
Yeah. No, yeah, okay, so he's probably in his 70s.
And you get to be a skillful hunter. I would say he's at least 15, or Esau is at least 15.
Right, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just wander off as a 75-year-old man.
Well, I mean, people live to 150. I don't fucking know.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Okay.
I don't like any of this,
Then
but
I'm
we're
sorry
doing
for
it.
yelling at you.
That's
We're
fine.
doing it. All right. Anyway.
So they decide they need to go somewhere to wait out the famine. If credit at home if you remember where the story is going, because we've done this before. So Isaac moves to a place called Gerar, where Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, lives.
Same dude that was talking to Abraham, right?
No, switched a couple letters.
Cool.
Yeah. And God pops in,
There he is.
and he's like, hey, don't go to Egypt. He says, do as I say and stay here in this land. If you do, I will be with you and I will bless you. I'll give you all this land to you and your descendants, just as I solemnly promised to Abraham. It's a God promise. Right to the bank. Right to the bank.
Book.
So Isaac stayed where he was because God said to.
Holy shit, Isaac. All right. Go you, man. I like your.
And some guys popped in to ask about Rebecca, his wife.
What guys?
Some guys.
The men of that place.
Yeah.
26-7. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
The men of that place.
Yeah. Some men. My book says, and when the men.
No fucking way. No, Isaac. I read 3 words ahead. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And Isaac says.
What does Isaac say?
What does Isaac say?
The men came to ask about
Rebecca.
His wife.
And he says, you want to see a trick I learned from my dad?
She's my sister.
This is why I wanted to get to the list last week.
God fucking shit in my ball sack, damn it.
But then later, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out a window and saw Isaac fondling Rebecca. How? The fuck are they doing? He looked out a window? Just a window. Just a random ass window. I'm gonna cruise out on my balcony, have some nice morning air with my fucking coffee. Then I'm gonna look out and I'm gonna see this asshole fucking finger banging some chick. Oh wait, he said that was his sister. The fuck? The fuck, man?
Fuck Isaac.
Yeah. So Abimelech
Yep.
calls Isaac in. And he's like, hey pal.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? What's up?
So
Shit.
I walked out to the porch,
Oh, did you now?
get some morning air.
Dude, you got a nice porch.
The other day, yeah, I like
Love that porch. That is a solid porch. How much it cost?
It was not cheap.
No. It's like tiled and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird to me, but also not weird that you have such a solid understanding of the look of my porch.
Nah, we chill. We hang out.
But
It's
I
cool.
feel like
It's
because
cool.
you were near it
It's cool. Nah, I wasn't near it.
when you were finger banging your sister.
You can't just finger pop people's pussies in public. Let's get into it.
After Isaac gets kicked out of the place he was in because of being a fucking dumb shit and
They
fucking
kicked him out
yeah, they were like, get the fuck out of here.
of Gerar.
Yeah. That year, Isaac's crops were tremendous.
Why? Fuck him. He doesn't do
He
it.
harvested 100 times more grain than he planted because the Lord had blessed him.
Fuck you, Isaac. You don't deserve this shit.
He moved to Beersheba, where the Lord appeared to him on the night of his arrival and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you and will bless you.
If you're the God of the father Abraham, are you the God of all people? What the fuck is you can't just what? I don't. Right.
I will give you many descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham.
Said that, dude. Yep.
Why have you come? Isaac asked them. This is obviously no friendly visit, since you sent me from the land in your most unfriendly way.
He said friend like 4 times.
And they said, basically, they're just like, hey, like, so fucking God loves you, right? So we should be friends. I mean, that's the end of it. That's the whole thing. There's like, hey, God is your bro, and we want to be bros with you. And Isaac's like, cool, let's have a feast. And they're like, dope.
He made them a feast, and they did eat and drink, and they rose up betimes in the morning and swear one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace.
And then also Esau gets married.
And that was
He married a young woman named Judith. He also married
What?
Basemath.
what? He got 2 wives, pulling a lot.
Yeah, he had 2 wives. But Esau's wives made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah.
Chapter 27.
So Isaac calls Esau in
Okay.
and says, it's getting towards, the end of my life.
Thank God.
We're all happy
About
about
fucking
that.
time.
And Isaac wants to bless Esau. So he's like, hey, I want to bless you.
Okay.
So go out and hunt me some shit and
Cool.
make me some food.
I'm a good hunter.
Yeah. So Isaac's wife hears this whole thing, and she's like, they are both my kids. Something about Esau rubs me the wrong way.
Okay.
So she calls Jacob in, and she's like, hey, Jacob,
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mom. What's up? Me, Jacob.
your dad wants to bless your older brother.
That's so nice of him. He's a really good guy.
I want you to get in there and fuck that shit up.
You got it.
So what you gonna do
Okay.
is, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember how the book specifically touched on the fact that your brother is particularly hairy?
It did say that about my brother. He was hairy and red when he was born.
So go ahead and go out and shear a sheep. It's
it's
gonna make sense in a minute.
a weird start, but okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and put the fur on.
This is gonna make his life harder, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead and put the sheep shit on your arms.
On my arms.
On your arms.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna make food the way your dad likes it. And then you're gonna take it to him.
Okay.
And because he's old and blind and dumb and drooling,
He really is. He's
when
fucking
he touches your arms that have the sheep fur on it, he's gonna think it's your older brother.
I think it's my older brother.
He's gonna bless you.
I like the way this is going.
Yeah, right.
This is
Thought
in
you
the
would.
Bible. This
It's
is all.
in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is hardcore.
Starts chapter 5 if you want to read
Nope,
it yourself.
I'm not gonna read it. It
Okay.
just sounds really malicious and mean, and I'll just take your word for it. Cause hey, I'm Esau versus.
And I'm Jacob. Hi, Father.
but
It's me, Esau.
you sound a bit different, my son.
Would you like to touch my arms to confirm my identity?
Boy. Do you know why I pulled you over today here, sir? I need to see some registration and arm touches.
Esau returned from his hunting trip. Esau prepared his father's favorite meat dish and brought it to him. And then he said, I'm back, father, and I have wild game. Sit up and eat it so you may give me your blessing. But Isaac asked him, who are you? Why, it is me, of course. Esau replied, it's Esau, your older son. Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, then who was it that just served me the wild game?
Let me touch your arm first.
This one's hairy too.
Oh man, but it feels less like an animal and more like a human.
More like a person with arm hair.
Oh man, this story sucks.
So bad.
Oh man, I hate it.
I have already eaten it, and I blessed him with an irrevocable blessing before you came.
Ain't nobody said that, man. It's your blessing. You can take it back like whenever.
It's irrevocable.
No, it's your blessing.
It's
You
irrevocable.
could change it.
I said it.
You did. You said
Can't
it just,
unsay it.
like just
I
now.
said it.
You could.
I did it.
can. You could.
Can't.
You're not listening.
Nope. When Esau understood, he let out a loud and bitter cry. Oh, my father, bless me too, he begged. But Isaac said, your brother was here and he tricked me. He has carried away your blessing. And Isaac said to his father unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it to me? I have eaten all before thou camest, and I have blessed. Says the word camest.
I believe it says the word camest.
That made me less angry.
You just laughed at the word camest. You all right? Need a minute?
Yeah, I'm less angry.
That we're reading now, huh?
Then Jacob's mom is like, hey, run away for a while and hang out with your uncle. And then Jacob's going to get over this, or Esau's going to get over this. I don't really worry about it. And then you can come back for a while once he forgets everything that you've done. Because you would forget that.
I forget.
Yeah, no, everybody would forget.
Yeah. Like one of the most important moments of my entire life. Probably the most important moment of my entire life.
Literally the defining moment of everything that you are as a human. Yeah. You just forget about that. So
Yeah,
don't worry about it. Just run away for
Really
you.
move past it. I got
And then Rebecca
sheep
goes to
take care
Isaac
of.
and says, I hate all the Hittite women. They're all fucking pieces of shit. I'd rather die than see my son marry one.
That seems unnecessary.
And also, there's no background for that of any kind.
There's no lead up.
Nope.
It's
Just turns out Rebecca's racist. So Isaac called for Jacob, blessed him, and said, do not marry any of these Canaanite women. He blessed him a second time. This one's a real blessing.
I'm gonna fucking kill Isaac. I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna kill him dead. Oh, what a fucking asshole.
So Isaac says, go to Paddan Aram.
Yeah.
Marry one of your uncle Laban's daughters. Esau heard that his father blessed Jacob and sent him to Paddan Aram to find a wife. And they warned Jacob not to marry a Canaanite woman. He also knew that Jacob had obeyed his parents and gone to Paddan Aram. It was now very clear to Esau that his father despised the local Canaanite women. So he visited his uncle Ishmael's family and married one of Ishmael's daughters, in addition to the wives he already had.
Yep.
So Jacob wanders for a while. Jacob hurried on, finally arriving in the land of the east. He saw in the distance 3 flocks of sheep laying in the open field beside a well. He gets there and he sees a bunch of sheep and they're waiting.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, why aren't you watering your sheep? There's fucking water right here. And the shepherds say, oh, well, it's tradition in our part of the country that we do not water our sheep until all of the flocks have arrived at the watering hole.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It's the only nice thing in this entire goddamn book.
I just want to savor the nice moments, which is just we feed all the sheep at the same time.
That's the best you've gotten out of this
That
book.
is so nice.
It really is.
That is just so fucking nice.
It's the nicest you're gonna get.
Okay. Okay.
And a lady named Rachel arrives with her father's sheep because she was a shepherd. And Jacob just goes, well, I guess that's all of the sheep. So he goes over and rolls away the stone and waters his uncle's flock. And then he kisses Rachel. And tears came to her eyes.
Weird.
Totally not because she was upset about it.
Nope. Really wanted it.
Then he explained that he was her cousin on her father's side. So Rachel quickly went to her father.
Okay.
As soon as her father heard about Jacob's arrival, he rushed out to meet him and greeted him warmly. The father's name was Laban. He brought Jacob home and told him his story.
Panty.
So Jacob's been living with his uncle for a month.
Hashtag
Flesh tone moist panties.
Jacob's been living with his uncle for a month.
And his uncle comes to him and he's like, hey, you shouldn't be working for me for free, because apparently he's been working for him.
Okay. And now he's
bringing it
now
up.
LeBron's like,
Yeah.
man, you've been working real hard. And I haven't
paid you
at all."
shit. We
Nope,
shouldn't.
no, you haven't.
Nope.
Isn't that crazy?
It's weird. So Laban says, how much money do you want for working for me?
Mm-hmm.
Laban had 2 daughters.
I don't like that transition. I
That's
don't
the
like-
transition in the book, though.
But I don't.
That's it.
I don't like how it
That's
goes
what it
from
is.
payment to women. I never. It's always a bad look, man.
Leia had pretty eyes.
Oh, good for her. I'm really happy to hear that about her. Not in the context, though. Not in the context of this conversation.
But Rachel was beautiful in every way.
Didn't he already kiss Rachel?
Yeah.
Didn't they already get married?
No.
Okay.
He just kissed her,
Oh,
and then she cried.
I thought that was like Bible for marrying.
No, he just kissed her, and then she cried. And he told her father,
Cool.
I will work for you for 7 years
Okay.
if you give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife.
Okay.
Kind of
Okay.
within the context of this book, it's kind of the nicest thing that's happened. So Laban says, cool.
Okay. Nice. Nice agreement.
One of my favorite lines, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather give her to you than someone outside the family. Can't have a run of too many good verses before we throw one of those back in there.
Get that shit tattooed on your body. Do you want to hear what it sounds like in 4 other Bibles?
So Jacob works for 7 years
Mm-hmm.
to earn Rachel.
Right.
It seemed to him a few days because his love was so strong. So they have a party.
Mm-hmm.
My book says Laban invited everybody in the neighborhood.
So their family.
Well, but just like they live in the desert.
Yeah.
There's not a neighborhood.
No.
Should just Laban invited everybody in like the surrounding desert area.
Looks vaguely like a music festival campsite,
Yeah.
which is tents and everything.
Yeah, Laban invited everybody at Coachella that wasn't high.
In order to invite the neighbors, you just got to stand outside your tent and go,
Sup, guys?
party!
Over here. Wedding.
We're doing a wedding.
Come hang out.
Like 20 minutes.
25.
Yeah.
If you got
Loosely.
shrooms, bring them.
Yeah. If you're tending to your sheep,
Leave them.
yeah,
They're
that'd be
fine. We dug wells.
Well, it's good.
When it was dark,
Mm-hmm.
Laban took Leah to Jacob.
Okay.
And Jacob slept with her.
Okay. Leia's
The one with pretty eyes and nothing else.
and Rachel's the hot one.
Yeah.
Okay. Leia's the Velma.
Yeah.
Rachel's the Daphne.
Yeah. Jacob woke up in the morning. It was Leah. What sort of trick is this? Jacob raged at Laban.
Why would Laban do that? He worked for him for 7 years. That's a long fucking time.
Because verse 26 clearly explains it's not our custom to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn.
Why would he do that? Like, okay, so because of the firstborn thing. 'cause the
Right,
firstborn-
right.
All right. You know what? Fine. Let's just go. Let's just. Okay.
So Laban goes to Jacob and says, hey, chill for the night. It's wedding night, right? Just chill.
But
Chill.
I'm married to the wrong one,
Just chill. In that one setting, I think
Hmm.
Jacob is justified in his anger.
I don't give a fuck.
And Laban's just like, chill. Give it a week.
A week? What? No, but she's got nice eyes, and that's it.
And then if you work another 7 years, you can have Rachel.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
He
Got
does. Does he do it?
Oh, yeah. So Laban just gives Rachel to Jacob after a week. He's like, chill for a week and just have her. But then you have to work 7 years. So after a week, Jacob bangs Rachel, and then he works for Laban for another 7 years.
It's easier to work for 7 years once you already got the
It's true. The vajayjay.
vagina person. Because they're not women. They're not people yet. They're vagina.
Oh,
they're
God,
walking
no.
vaginas.
No, they're walking incubators.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
They're walking incubators for the millions of offspring
Making them
that I
far
will have.
too human.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sorry.
unacceptable.
No, they're just egg baskets. Walking
So
around.
weirdly, Leah is upset because Jacob is disgusted by her and she is unloved.
Jesus. All right.
I put the disgusted part in there.
Yeah, but it's not
It's
probably not
not
wrong.
inaccurate.
Nope. Really
So God let her have a child while Rachel was childless. Because God just likes to pop in and make things fun.
He does love doing that.
Nuh-uh.
He's a big fan.
He's great.
Oh, it's his
He's
deal.
great. And she named him Reuben.
Oof.
Then she became pregnant again and had another son. And then somebody tried to knock my apartment over.
Yeah, right. That is. Wow.
Aggressive.
What are they?
And then she has another son, and she names him Simeon. And then she has another son, and then she names him Levi. And each time she goes, because this time is the time he's going to love me. And she's wrong every time. Then she becomes pregnant again, and she names him Judah. And she says, now I will praise the Lord. And then she stopped having children. When Rachel saw she wasn't having any children, she became jealous of her sister. Give me children or I'll die, she said to Jacob.
Wow.
Jacob flew into a rage. Am I God? He asked.
Oh man, Jacob, you a dick.
So
Fuck
they're
you.
yeah.
Fuck you, Jacob.
Yeah. Long story short, Rachel gets super angry and says, well, just bang my servant then, because that's gone so well in the past.
Oh, that did not go well in the past.
Went great.
No, it did not.
So she gives him Bilhah to be his wife. And Jacob slept with her. And Bilhah had a son. And Rachel named him Dan.
All that for a Dan?
Then Bilhah became pregnant again and gave Jacob a second son. And Rachel named him Naphtali.
Man, Dan got the short end of the stick there.
Then Leah realized she wasn't getting pregnant anymore, so she gave her servant Zilpah to Jacob, and he banged her and gave Leah another son, and she named him Gad.
Again.
And she said, I'm very fortunate. And then Zilpah had another son, and Leah named him Asher, which is a cool Fallout 3 thing. And she said, what joy! And then other women will consider me happy indeed, even though I'm miserable and I want to die. That she didn't say that, but yeah. Oh, God. There's so much good shit in here. I love this chapter. One day during wheat harvest.
Okay. All right. Sure, man.
Reuben found some mandrakes growing in a field and brought the roots to his mother Leah. Rachel begged Leah to give her some of them. But Leah angrily replied, wasn't it enough that you stole my husband? Now you steal my son's mandrake roots?
Oh, Lee, shit. Get that fucking verse tattooed on your body.
And Rachel said, I will let him sleep with you tonight in exchange for the mandrake roots.
This is awesome. This got
I know.
real good.
I know.
Like all of a sudden.
I know.
Oh.
I was trying to get you to this, so give you some relief, but I'm glad we got here.
No,
at the
we
end.
got here. We got which I need to know the verse.
Verse 15. Well, verse 14 is when they find the mandrake roots, and then verse 15 is when they argue about whether or not they're going to fuck over the mandrake roots.
Yeah, no. Get Genesis 30:15 tattooed on your body.
Yeah.
It's about women fighting over sex and mandrakes. And holy shit, is that a sentence I thought I'd never say?
So that evening, as Jacob was coming home from the fields, Leah went out to meet him. You must sleep with me tonight, she said. There's an exclamation point in my book.
Ooh.
I have paid for you with some mandrake roots that my son has found.
Okay. Wow.
So Jacob slept with her.
Fucking course he did. He's a monster. Okay.
And God answered her prayers, and she became pregnant again. Then gave birth to her fifth son.
But she only wanted this kid to compete with her sister.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god. Oh, this is
Uh-huh.
okay. This is dumb.
And she said, "Oh, the kid's name is
Why
Issachar.
is this in the Bible?
The kid's-
Why is this in the Bible?
You must sleep with me. I traded mandrake roots for your dick."
All right.
She,
And he was like, all right,
She's cool.
let's do it.
As long as we just put a shit. Then she became pregnant again and had a sixth son. She named him Zebulun.
How many fucking kids is she going to have?
She's on 6 right now.
Jesus.
For she said, God has given me good gifts for my husband. Now he will honor me. She's still not letting that go. It's never going to happen, bitch. Let
No.
it go. Sorry.
Let it fucking. Jeez.
Later, she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah. That's the end of the ladies in this story. Then God remembered Rachel.
But she's the hot one.
Yeah. Well, she got all her gifts, like, up front.
God never cared about anyone being
And
hot.
he answered her
That's not his
prayers
deal.
by giving her a child. She became pregnant, gave birth to a son. God has removed my shame, she said, and she named him Joseph.
Like the Joseph?
I don't think it's the Joseph. I'm not sure. We haven't gotten that far. I haven't done my notes.
Just a Joseph?
Just Joseph.
For
Yeah. Soon after Joseph was born, Rachel went to Jacob. Or, I'm sorry. Soon after Joseph was born to Rachel, Jacob said to Laban, I want to go home. Let me take my wives and my children, for I have earned them from you. And let me be a So he's been popping out all these kids, living with
Still
his
in-
uncle.
Still in uncle's house.
He's
yeah.
had 13 children. So Jacob wants to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And Laban says, don't go, because I have learned by divination the Lord has blessed me because you are here. How much do I owe you? Whatever it is, I will pay. Long story short, they go back and forth, and Laban's like, let me pay you. And Jacob's like, pay me by letting me fucking leave, you prick. I don't know why they're not just going.
Yeah,
like,
you
I
could
did.
just- you
He's
could just
basically got
leave.
an army of children. like,
He's got enough.
he could just go.
He's got enough for a football team, man.
Yeah. I think. I don't know how many people are in.
11 on the field.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's got a couple backups.
Yeah, no, he has enough children to play 2 basketball teams
Oh,
against each other.
fuck.
with
This
people on the
shit.
bench.
Okay, so this is really confusing. But here we go. So Jacob said, don't give me anything at all. Just do one thing, and I'll go back to work for you. Let me go out among your flocks today and remove all the sheep and goats that are speckled or spotted, along with all the dark-colored sheep. Give them to me as my wages. This will make it easy for you to see whether or not I have been honest. If you find in my flock any white sheep or goats that are not speckled, you will know I have stolen them from you. Makes sense so far, right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's
Okay.
kind of cool.
Yeah. So Laban says, cool, go do your thing. But that very day, Laban went out. Also, side note, flocks and sheep are essentially currency in this time period.
Yeah.
So Jacob's essentially saying, give me enough sheep that I can leave you because I can support myself
Yeah.
with animals. Yeah. So Laban went out and removed all the male goats that were speckled and spotted, the females that were speckled and spotted with any white patches, and all the dark-colored sheep. He placed them in the care of his sons, and they took them 3 days' distance from where Jacob was.
It's very far.
Very far. Now Jacob took fresh shoots from the poplar, almond, and plane trees and peeled off the strips of bark to make white streaks on them. Then he set up these peeled branches beside the watering troughs, so Laban's flock would see them as they came to drink, for that was when they mated. So when the flocks mated in front of the white streaked branches, all of their offspring were streaked, speckled, and spotted. I don't understand how that works.
I don't know enough about breeding to determine whether or not that's true.
It can't be.
No, it's definitely not.
He took bark and painted their hair, and then they had speckled kids?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Makes sense.
Makes no goddamn sense.
No, listen, you didn't hear it, right? So he took the bark from the tree,
Uh-huh.
painted the sheep
Uh-huh.
that he wasn't going to take,
Uh-huh.
and then they mate with other painted sheep.
Uh-huh.
Duh. Science.
I hate this book.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Jacob's noticed that Laban is not a big fan of him.
Nobody should be.
But that's fair. But specifically, Laban is kind of getting tired of
LeBron's
Jacob's
like,
shit.
yo, you ankle grabbing motherfucker, get out my house, stop fucking all my daughters and your cousins who are the same person.
And God pops in, and he's like, "Hey, Jake, time to go."
Okay.
And Jake's like, "Oh, okay. I guess cool. We'll go."
Okay, so he leaves.
So he grabs his wives, and he says, "Hey, it's time to go." And he says it's because Laban keeps breaking payment agreements. In my book, it says, but he's tricked me, breaking his wage agreement with me again and again. But God has not allowed me to come to any harm. But it explains kind of that, like, what he means by not coming to harm is that essentially the reason that the sheep thing works is because God makes it work. Like, Laban will come to Jacob and be like, you can have the striped sheep. And then God will be like, lots of striped sheep. The wives are just immediately on board.
Because they're not real people.
They claim that their father has reduced their inheritance to that of foreign women. Before they go, they Rachel, the hot one,
Rachel
goes in and steals her father's household gods.
What?
Uh-huh.
That wasn't mentioned before. And I hate that you're just telling me what happened. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods.
Kind of. I feel like you're being a big dick about this.
Fuck you, I'm taking your gods. Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's like 15 kids, his 2 daughters, all the servants, his fucking son-in-law is fucking, and his son-in-law.
Yeah, they were all living there.
There's a
weren't they?
lot of people.
It was like a small
that are
village
now
of people.
gone. 3 days? 3.
Mine says Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So someone had to tell him.
That's worse.
It would have taken him longer.
So he gets everybody together and he's like, we're going to go get this motherfucker.
Get everyone whom?
Like all like his servants.
All right.
His shit. and
Okay,
I don't know.
fine. Okay, fine.
God pops in for a minute
God pops in.
and he's like, hey, what should you say to that motherfucker over there? Because I'll fuck your shit up.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Then God came to Laban the Aramean, really hung up on where he's from in this one, in a dream at night and said to him, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.
Oh, wow. In mine, it just says, watch what you say to him.
Oh, that's some hardcore shit.
Yeah.
Keep my name out your mouth, motherfucker.
Seriously.
Watch out. So, step.
So Laban takes that in stride, and he does eventually catch up to Jacob, and he's like, hey, what? Why'd you? I would have thrown you a party if I knew you were leaving.
I'll do the party?
Yeah.
Man, that'd be super nice.
Yeah, you just kind of ran off.
Well,
And it
yeah.
was-
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. It was.
no, it's cool. It's just, like,
I just felt like I was bothering you.
If I'm being
in your
totally
way.
honest, I came out here to tell you I'll fucking kill you. But then, like, your God showed up and he was like, careful, motherfucker. So now I'm just like here to just like be like, hey, hi, friend. How are you? You want a party or to hang out?
Oh,
or
you know
anything?
what? Party sounds good.
I think the party would be great.
Party
yeah.
would be great.
If you want a party. If you want a party.
I want a party.
Okay. What kind of
And,
party do you want?
A sheep party.
Okay, sheep party,
where I
yeah.
get all your sheep.
I don't even know what that means. You
I
want
want 'em.
Okay,
I just want-
okay, you can have them.
I'll take a couple of your servants.
Oh, all of them. You can
Yeah.
choose to have all of them.
And I want you
Uh-huh.
to fuck yourself.
Okay, I'll do it. So Laban does kind of sack up for a second, and he's like, "Hey, man, the one thing that does kind of suck about you leaving, like more than the other stuff, is just that like somebody did steal my shit."
What?
Yeah,
Weird.
very weird.
Well, how do you know? It could have been anybody.
No, it could have been anybody. It's one of those things where it kind of lines up, right? That like several dozen people left my house.
Yeah.
And then some stuff was gone. And before several dozen people all left my house, none of my stuff had been gone.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. No, I see where you're coming from. That makes sense.
yeah.
And I hear you.
And again, not accusing.
No. You would never do that, would you?
I'm more just
Would
bringing.
you?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
And he goes to Laban and he says, "Hey, I didn't do anything. Like we ran away, but we didn't steal any of your shit. check whatever you want, go anywhere you want, go through our camp. If it's here, fuck the person that took it. Find your shit, take it. We don't.
How is this so important?
So Laban gets to Rachel's tent, and
Yep.
Rachel had wisely stowed her father's household gods in a camel saddle. I like saying camel saddle.
Where else would she put them though? Like, how many more compartments for
And then she
storage
sat
does
on
she
them.
have?
And then when Laban comes in the tent, she says, "Oh, hello, Father. Forgive me for not standing up. I'm on my period."
I think it's time.
So, verse 35. Bring it out, big boy.
This is. I knew it would happen.
You just didn't know
Is this
when.
the moment that you were hoping that Big Boy would come out?
No,
Because-
I actually thought we'd get farther.
No. Incorrect. $1.25. Come here, 5 quarters. And she said to her father, "Let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me." And he searched but found not the images.
And then Jacob becomes super bitchy.
And chode.
Chode?
And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. Is there an asterisk next to it?
It says the word chode.
This book.
It's the best one.
love you, big boy.
It's the best.
Okay, so it has a like little weird
Yeah.
T
So
next to it.
the whole he just screams at Laban like,
Hi, my name's Leah. I think you're very nice.
"Hi."
Do you want to marry me?
No.
Guess what? We're married now.
Shit.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that, my cousin.
So they make a treaty, and we can get hung up on any one thing. The whole thing's bullshit. But basically, Laban just says like, "Hey, so I'm gonna let you go on your way." So it's been a minute since Jacob's talked to his brother, and so he sends him a message, and he's like, "Hey, man, God told me to come home, so I'm coming home, and like I hope that's cool and stuff." And he sends a messenger out, and the messenger comes back with the information that Esau is going to meet Jacob with 400 soldiers.
My boy Esau.
Jacob is immediately scared shitless,
Never forget.
as you should be.
Yeah.
And then he starts praying and reminds God of God's God promise. He posts up for a while, and he puts together a shitload of gifts for Esau. And he's like, "I'm going to send this motherfucker a ton of shit, and then he is going to not be angry at me anymore." That's
Okay.
legitimately his logic.
Okay.
And in the middle of the night, he wakes up and goes, "Ah!" and collects
What's going on, Rachel?
his wives and his concubines and his 11 sons.
Oh, so they give us a number.
They did 11.
Okay.
Sends them across the river. There's a river apparently.
Sure, why not?
And he sends them across the river, and he sends all their shit across the river too.
I know how this ends. I played Oregon Trail.
And then he's just sitting alone. This left Jacob all alone in the camp. And a man came and wrestled with him until dawn.
What in the good goddamn? What just happened? What? Are you fucking kidding me? What? Let me start.
Start.
I got a couple questions. I gotta.
Just a couple. A couple quick questions.
One or two.
Yeah, what's up?
Because this says wrestled, but that's man fucking. That's man on man sex. That's what that is. There's no two ways around it. I'm sorry. You could show me a comic book where two guys are pretending to fight, but this is a man getting fucked so hard by an agent of the Lord that his hip is out of socket.
So after the fucking, they keep moving on, and they see Esau, and Jacob, like a goddamn hero, organizes his family in descending order of importance.
A hero?
Yeah,
Is that what heroes do?
it's a joke.
Feels like what villains do.
He puts his concubines in front, then Leah,
Come on, man.
then Rachel and Jacob.
Ah! This is I hate. What is the point of living as poor Leah? If I
There really isn't one. So after Leah is
okay.
second in charge of protecting her husband,
No, she's
I'm assuming his concubines are like badass warriors or some shit because they're out in front, or he just wants them to die first. I don't know.
he just would be
He just
okay
doesn't
with
give a
them
shit.
dying.
Yeah, he was just fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just uses them for the fucking.
Yeah. So he puts everybody in front of him, and then he kind of like peeks his head out, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Esau?" And Esau is actually super chill. And Jacob was like, "Well, I just wanted to I'm very wealthy now. I wanted to share the wealth with you." And Esau's like, "Dude, I'm fine. Like I'm good. Like you don't need to give me a bunch of shit."
Esau's doing good.
Esau's doing good.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he keeps like trying to Jacob keeps like trying to give him shit, and Esau keeps just being like, "Dude, I'm good. Like it's fine. Like I'm comfy. Like I really don't need your stuff." Esau says, "Hey, come back to my place." Chapter 34. So one day,
Bridgeport.
one of the daughters of Leah that you've never heard before got
she has
raped.
No. Oh, this is bad. No more jokes. I don't like this.
And the guy who did it because he loved her a lot and he wanted to marry her. And then he spends the rest of the chapter begging to marry her.
What?
And then all the sons of Jacob say, "You can marry her, but you have to be circumcised." So they cut all the tips of their dicks off. And then when they're suffering, all the sons of Jacob murder the entire city. It's actually one of the only good stories in the Bible.
I was trying to process it. So what happens is Brock
Rapes a lady.
rapes a lady.
But then claims it's because he loves her and he wants to marry
And then
her.
Jacob goes, "Okay, cool, dude. You love this chick. You should circumcise your penis."
Yeah. Because so you
show-
can be part of our cult.
Yeah, and then we'll let you in.
Yeah. And then they do it.
And he goes to do that.
And then they're all like, "Oh shit, our dicks hurt." And they're like, "Cool, now you die."
Need to put it on ice.
Yeah.
And then Jacob comes in and just kills them all.
It's Jacob's sons, but yes.
Okay.
The only good story in the Bible so far. Fucking dope, right?
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is this should be a Tarantino movie.
It should.
Oh.
It's great.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
you, Brock. Does it even give his name?
It does. He has a weird
Okay, so you're going to read through Big Boy now?
Now I'm gonna read through Big Boy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take a lot of breaks. Just we're gonna get through this because the whole chapter is just that thing.
Oh, all of 34,
34 is just that story.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Us. All
It's-
right. No,
I mean, it's a really weird story that we even need to bring it. Like, I don't understand why it's in the book, but it's just cool that a bunch of shitty rapists die. His sons did all the good shit, and then Jacob goes like, "But now people are gonna be angry at us."
They did a good thing.
Gigantic piece of shit.
They did they took
They
out.
should have fucking taken the blood of the people they killed and written on a wall, "This will happen to you too, motherfucker."
Don't rape nobody.
No.
I like, okay, so
Make you cut your own dicks off and then we'll murder
I
you.
don't want to say this because every time I say this on the show, 2 pages later,
Yeah.
I hate the person.
Sure.
But Simeon and Levi.
They actually don't come back to do anything bad. You can like them.
Name every boy Simeon or
and
Levi,
Levi.
and we'll be fine.
Then God pops in and says, "Make me an altar.
Dude,
Worship me."
can you listen? We
Make
just can you first
me an
time out. Time out. Time out.
bitch.
1 second.
Nuh-uh.
1 second.
Are you timing out the guy that created the universe?
Just for a second. for 1 second.
This is your one chance. Make it good.
We just did this dope ass thing. We killed this dude who did a serious wrong.
Yeah, right, yeah,
Can you like give us a day, 2 days to celebrate?
Make me an altar.
I
Make
think
one.
I'm gonna say it.
Worship me.
I'm gonna say it.
Uh-huh.
You're being unreasonable as fuck right now. I think we're having a good time.
I hear that.
And every time we
I
have
hear
to build
that.
an altar,
I hear that.
you ask
I hear
for
that.
some unreasonable ass bullshit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So make me an altar.
Me and my boy Simeon ain't about this.
Worship me.
Quick look.
So they make a thing and they get rid of all their idols. They set out on their way, and essentially God just like sends his messenger ahead, and it was like, I'll fucking murder you if you fuck with the people that are traveling.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Seems a bit aggressive and unnecessary, but fine.
Jacob builds a lot more altars.
How many more altars?
Just one.
Okay.
Then Rebecca's nurse dies.
Seems like important information.
Then God pops in
Always a good time.
to remind him that his name is no longer Jacob, it's Israel.
They keep calling him Jacob in this book, though.
I know.
Okay.
Then Jacob made another altar because God spoke to him. Jacob poured wine on it, put oil on it,
Pour some out for the homies
Yeah.
who can't be here right now.
called that place House of God. Rachel was having pains in childbirth. And then after a very hard delivery, I actually love this. The midwife exclaimed, "Don't be afraid, you have another son." Rachel was about to die, but with her last breath, she named him Ben-Oni. The baby's father, however, called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath. Jacob traveled on. While he was there, Reuben slept with Bilhah, his father's concubine,
Who the fuck is Reuben?
his son.
He's got 1,000 sons.
And then somebody told Jacob about it. Moving on.
What?
These are the names of the 12 sons of Jacob.
That's it?
That's it. So Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived. This is the history of Jacob's family. So the long and the short of it is Joseph is born, and Jacob is a super huge fan of him because Jacob was really old when he had Joseph, and he's like, oh shit, this is like a blessing from God because I'm super old and I was still able to have a kid
Right, okay.
type thing.
Sure.
And Joseph is just a glutton for punishment. And he wakes up one day and he goes to all his brothers. He's like, hey guys, I had this dream where we were all harvesting grain and my grain stood up super tall and all of your grain bowed down to me.
That's just a dream, man.
Yeah. And all his brothers are like, so you're saying that like we're going to be your servants or whatever? And Joseph's like, no, it's just a dream, you guys. Like, fucking calm the fuck down, Jesus Christ. And then a couple days later, after that super reasonable interaction, he's like, hey, you guys had another dream where all the stars in the sky bowed down to me.
So it was just a dream, right? Like, you don't think we should, like, praise you for any reason?
I'm not saying that you should or you shouldn't. I'm just saying I had a dream.
So what are you trying to tell me something?
No, really. I'm just really telling you that I had a dream.
Okay, well, I had a dream last night that I had a bunch of fudge. Do you-
Okay. Well, like, should like I worship your fudge or whatever?
I didn't say that. I just said I had a bunch of
I'm
fudge.
not saying you should worship my shit, but I'm just.
I'm not going to worship you.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, fuck this asshole.
He just had 2 dreams.
He had 2 dreams, but they were shitty dreams they hated. And so they take him out, and their whole plan is to kill him. And then one of their brothers, let's see, which brother was it? Let's see if I can find it quick. Reuben, their brother Reuben.
Fucking Reuben.
Super cool guy. He is saying, well, we don't have to kill him. There's an empty well over here. Let's just toss him in the well. Like, no, fuck with him or whatever. And all his brothers are like, okay, cool. And the whole plan is like, Reuben's like, my brothers are being pricks. I'm going to like play along. I'm going to let him like throw Joseph in this hole.
Yeah.
But then when they run away, Reuben's plan is to come back and save him and be like, hey man, I'm sorry. Like, I know that was weird. They're being dicks, but like, let's don't worry about it.
Sure.
So they throw him in the hole, and then they see a passing like slave trader, and they're like, "Hey, passing slave trader, would you like this man in the hole?"
What? What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat part of the show, where they take this amazing coat that Joseph's been given and they tear it into shreds and they dip it in goat's blood. And then they go to their dad and they're like, "Oh no, father, look, it's covered in blood. He must have died in an accident."
Wow.
And then his dad is super sad. And he's like, "Shit, my favorite son died." And they're like, "Yeah, that's why we hated him. He was your favorite son. Why do you have a favorite kid, you fucking piece of shit?" And Reuben is very upset because his plan was to save his brother. And they get away with it.
That's it. We're done.
No.
It was a
So
couple
they sell him
pages.
into slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and they convince his dad that worked. They'd say he's dead,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Oh no, my son's dead," and just accepts it. I mean, it makes sense. You live in the desert, like shit
People are
happens.
gonna die.
Yeah.
People die all the time.
So this is just a weird side story about one of his brothers being a dickhead. Judah moves away. Judah is the brother that said, "Let's toss him in a pit instead of kill." Or no, I'm sorry, sell him into slavery instead of kill him.
Okay.
So he runs off, and he has a couple kids. One of them is named His son grows up, and they arrange a marriage for but was a dickhead, so God killed him.
So the Lord put him to death.
Judah goes to his second oldest son and says, "Hey, your brother's dead, so now you have to marry his wife because that's the tradition or whatever."
Okay. That shouldn't happen enough that it becomes tradition.
You're right.
I don't like that.
I mean, to be fair, also, we're talking about a time when people were, I'm sure, dying left and right. But he doesn't want to give her a kid because it won't be his heir. So every time he fucks her, he jizzes on the ground. And that pisses God off, so he kills him.
This is like, I can't process all this information anytime ever that you say one thing. I just don't know what
That's
to
why these
do.
are 3-hour-long episodes.
You say one thing and then an hour and a half of me just going, "What the fuck?" Yeah.
So Judah sends the widow away and says, "You're not getting married again right now because my kids keep dying." And he says when his youngest son, this motherfucker,
So
when the
weird.
youngest son is old enough, then he's gonna go get her and have her marry him. But he doesn't actually play. It says in parentheses that wasn't something he was actually gonna do because he was afraid that his kid would die too. So she goes
much
home.
lying in
I know,
the Bible.
so much.
You would think that when you grow up with Christian values and they say, "Hey, you shouldn't lie."
Well, I mean, I guess kind of because it's teaching you that these are bad things.
Yeah, but like half the time they get away with it.
Yeah, well, we just don't talk about those. that's how the Bible works.
That's
You
in
just
the
don't
Old
talk
Testament.
about
It doesn't
them.
count.
doesn't
It's
count.
only 80% of the book, I think, is the entire way to live life.
So she goes home, and Judah's wife dies later. Just a little throwaway info. After the time of mourning was over, Judah and his friend Hirah the Adulamite went to Timnah to supervise the shearing of his sheep.
Sure, why not? Okay, fine.
And that is where the widow was living.
Oh, do we have her name?
Her name is Tamar.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
The-
where Tamar was living.
The one who didn't get any jizz in her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she changes out of her widow's clothes, covers herself in a veil to disguise herself, and then sits beside the road at the entrance to the village, which is where everybody has to pass by to get it.
I want to see where this goes. I'm interested.
Judah notices her,
I feel like it's a bad plan.
immediately assumes she's a prostitute because her face is covered,
What? That's
and
a
decides
what?
to stop by and say, "Hey, you want to bang?"
What?
And she says, "How much are you going to pay me?"
What?
And he says, "I'll give you a young goat for my flock." And she says, "What else are you going to give me to promise that you're going to give me the thing you said?" And he asks what she wants. And she says, "I want your identification seal." No idea what that is.
What?
Your
No,
cord
what-
and your
what-
walking stick.
What?
So he gave her all the things she asked for. And then he fucks her. And she gets pregnant. And then he goes home. And she goes home and takes off her veil and puts back on her wedding clothes. Or widow's clothes, I'm sorry.
So both of them were widows, right? Because his wife died.
His wife died, yeah.
And both of her husbands died.
Yes.
Even though she wasn't married to the first.
She was married to both of them.
Oh, I thought she wasn't married to the
No,
first
she was,
brother.
yeah.
Okay.
But he was just a piece of shit, so God killed him.
Right.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
this is all right.
great.
I mean, it's kind of cool. But it's like God just like, no, fuck you, dead.
Yeah. So Judah goes back to his buddy and says, "Hey, take this goat to the lady that I fucked for goats, and then get my shit back." And the dude goes into town and says, "Hey guys, I'm gonna talk to the town prostitute real quick, and got some shit for her."
I've called this meeting here for order. Where is the town whore? I must speak with her so I can pay her.
To which everybody responds, "Oh, we don't have one."
What?
And he's like, no, she was by the front gate. And they're like, "Yeah, no, sorry, man, we don't have a prostitute." Then a few months later, word reaches Judah that Tamar, his daughter-in-law, is pregnant as a result of prostitution, and Judah shouts, "Bring her out and burn her!"
Wow.
Yeah, because it's cool to fuck a prostitute, but if it's your daughter-in-law, then she should die because she's a prostitute.
Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
bad. That's bad. Don't do that.
Men wrote this book.
Oh, man, only.
But as they were taking her out to kill her, she sent this message to her father-in-law: "The man who owns these identification seals and walking sticks is the father of my child. Do you recognize them?"
Duh. This bitch getting in charge.
And then he admits that they're his, and he says, "She is more in the right than I am, because I did not keep my promise to let her marry my son." So it turned out that she was actually pregnant with twins.
What?
And when they were born, one of them stuck his arm out of the puss.
Nope.
And they wrapped a string around it so they'd know which one was born first. But then he pulled his hand back in, and then the other one was born first. And everybody was like, "How did that? What? No." And then they named him Perez.
Fares.
Because... And then Zerah was the other baby that was born.
Man, they did some weird...
Back to the other part of the story.
What?
So Joseph is purchased by a man named Potiphar.
Sure.
And things are going all right for Joseph.
Being okay as a slave?
Well,
Not
he
a bad
actually,
slave life?
not a bad slave life at all, because Potiphar notices that God blesses Joseph a lot. Like, things seem to go well for Joseph.
Sure.
And Potiphar's logic is, okay, well, things go good for him. If I have him do my shit, things will go good for him, but he's doing my shit, so things will go good for me.
It's pretty sound logic.
It really is.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So Joseph winds up in charge of everything in this motherfucker's house. Like,
Okay.
household. Like, he runs the goddamn house.
Joseph's the house nigga now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am very white. Potiphar's wife has never wanted anything in the world more than to fuck Joseph.
Oh, yeah.
And she's pushing it hard.
Is she?
She's pushing it
Good for
hard.
her, man. Good for Joey.
And no, but he's just like, "Hey, listen, like, I've got a good job, but your husband is my boss. I can't." She gets progressively more aggressive until she, like, grabs him by the shirt and she's like, "Fuck me!"
I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's the best.
But Joseph, in his infinite wisdom, is like, "I'm gonna die if I do."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Seriously, no." And he pulls away from her. His shirt rips off. He runs away. And she starts screaming. And everybody's like, "What the fuck happened?" They all bust in. They're like, "Why? You got a shirt in your hand? Fuck, you're screaming. What's going on?" She's like, "Your slave tried to rape me."
Oh, man.
Yeah, just this shit now.
Now I don't like her
I know.
anymore.
Yeah.
This happens every time.
I know. Yeah, so then he goes to prison. The jailer notices the God blessing thing and says, "Joseph, you run the prison."
Wow.
So then Joseph is in charge of the other prisoners and over everything everything that happened in the prison.
He's
So-
the warden now?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still a prisoner. But he just runs everything. The Lord was with him, making everything run smoothly and successfully.
Cool. Sweet, good for him.
I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if he got like a better cell. Like, he's still a prisoner.
Still a
I don't
prisoner.
know how. Like,
I'm confused how you could be in
great
charge of
this
the
is
prison and
going.
also a prisoner. But then things start
But-
running well. I don't know.
It's the Bible. Nothing makes
I'm just getting to the part. Like,
fucking
you know,
sense.
you gotta okay fine it at some
You're
point.
right.
You gotta
You're
just
right.
like, okay fine.
Okay.
What happens?
Fine.
This is not the end of the story.
Sometime later,
Let's get God. That choice writing. Ugh.
oh God, the Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and the chief baker pissed off the Pharaoh, so he put him in prison.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to.
got nothing. And they have dreams in prison one night.
Oh, I thought you meant like hopes
No
and wishes.
I mean, I'm sure they did. Nobody wants to be the chief cupbearer.
I don't know. Probably, yeah, you'd probably be an all right baking shit though.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Probably having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a slave or a prisoner.
And
He was
now
just-
he is
Both.
both of them
Yeah.
because prisoners are slaves.
Yeah. So they have a dream, and they're kind of talking about like, oh, fucking, you know, I had dreams, and they're kind of tripped out by it. It's like when you have one of those like your it dream when there's the doors, and you're just like, nah.
Yeah.
They just can't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And Joseph's like, what's up, buddy?
I
You
can
guys
talk about it
seem
again if
sad."
you want to hear about it.
I feel like we really don't have time for that. I'm gonna cut it out anyways if we do.
Are you just scared of it because it's super scary?
No, it's just like a 20-minute rant that we wind up going on, and then just adds extra time to the edit.
Yep, you're right.
So Joseph sees him being all weird, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And they're like, "Fucking weird dreams. Can you tell us what they mean?" And Joseph says, "Interpreting dreams is God's business. Tell me what you saw."
Joseph, you're not God.
Yeah, but like he speaks to God or whatever.
That's true. He's really close with him.
He is. They're buddies. So the cupbearer had a dream where there was a vine in front of him, had 3 branches, and they began to blood and blossom, and there were clusters of ripe grapes. So he took the wine cup and squeezed the grapes into the thing. And yeah.
Sure.
And Joseph says, I know what that dream means. The bunches of grapes represent days. In 3 days, the Pharaoh's going to come to you and forgive you for whatever thing you did that pissed him off. You're going to be back at his hand and be doing your job. Everything's going to be great.
Okay.
And the cupbearer is stoked. He's like, fuck, yeah, 3 more days, I'm good. And the baker gets super stoked. He's like, that guy's dream was great. There can't possibly be a bad meaning for me in my dream. Let's do my dream
Well,
next, Joseph.
I feel like that's foreshadowing to the fact that it's going to be a bad dream.
Maybe. And Joseph says to the cupbearer, by the way, I just want you to know, I had a little bit of a rough time on my journey here. I really shouldn't be in prison. When you get back to the Pharaoh's good side, can you put in a good word for me? And the cupbearer says, absolutely, man, I got you.
Cool.
Yeah. And Joseph's like, Baker, let's hear your stuff, because this can't possibly go poorly for you.
Not at all.
And he essentially has a similar dream, but just baking related. There were 3 baskets of pastries on my head. In the top basket was all kinds of bakery goods, but the birds came and ate them all. And Joseph says, I'll tell you what that means. 3 baskets means 3 days. Noticing a theme here. 3 days from now, Pharaoh will cut off your head and impale your body on a pole. Then the birds will come and peck away at your flesh.
Oh, wow. That took a turn. That took a real hard turn. I thought it was like in 3 days, the Pharaoh will decide to keep you in prison for like another week or 2. And no. Head off, pike, birds. Yum, 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 yum. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Joey. And your fucked up Technicolor bullshit ass dream interpretation coat.
Pharaoh's birthday came 3 days later. He gave a banquet for all his officials and household staff.
Baker had a heart attack that day.
He sent for the cupbearer and the chief baker, and they were brought to him from prison. He then restored the chief cupbearer to his former position, but he sentenced the chief baker to be impaled on a pole, just as Joseph had predicted.
What did the baker do?
I don't know.
Jesus
I want to
Christ.
know. I want to
Oh,
know.
God.
Like, if it was just like a souffle fell, then that's bullshit. But like,
but a souffle is hard to make, and like he should have been more careful.
but that's his only job. I'm not saying he should be killed, but it's literally his only job, right?
yeah.
But like 2 years later,
Oh fuck.
the
How
Pharaoh.
come they got out in 3 days, but Joseph being so nice and blessed by God, they still keep him in prison?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I mean, he was running the prison, so maybe they asked if he wanted to go, but he was like, he had like a legit setup, and he was just like, I'm good.
Okay.
You know, like they don't. I don't know. I'm trying to find some goodness in this book.
You could also just give me I don't knows.
I'm trying to find some. I don't know. Okay, man. I don't fucking know.
I mean, we're all doing our best here.
I know.
This book is bullshit.
It's so bad. The Pharaoh has a dream that he's standing by a riverbank. I gotta make sure I get these in order. And he sees 7 cows grazing, and they all look super healthy and fat and all that good stuff. And then 7 other cows come up from the river, but they are very ugly, and the cows go over and eat the fat cows. And then the Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again, and he had a dream where 7 heads of grain on one stalk that were very healthy were absorbed or eaten by some gross grain. And the Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was a dream, because those are things that happen on the daily. So you have to realize, like, oh shit, that was holy fuck.
Yeah,
that was
that's just every other day.
so close to reality. I almost didn't even notice. So he's been talking, goes around, he's like talking about how fucking, I had these weird fucking dreams last night, man. It's fucking crazy shit. And the cupbearer is like, oh, I know a guy that does dream stuff. I am kind of late on this, but I know a guy that does dream stuff. The Pharaoh says, can you interpret this dream? And Joseph says, it is beyond my power to do this, but God will tell you what it means.
Everyone just rolls their eyes. All right. Yeah.
What does the fucking dream mean, dipshit?
Blessed be unto him who his holiness is. Can he tell me what the dream says now, Joseph? Did he tell you?
Yes.
Fucking asshole. This guy.
So the dream essentially means that the fat cows and the good grain means there's going to be 7 years of great harvest. Like everything's going to go awesome. And then the shitty cows and the ugly grain means there's going to be 7 years of famine.
Is everything just time?
Joseph's like, hey, maybe you should plan on setting some shit aside, since I've told you that like there's going to be a lot of famine coming up. And Pharaoh's like, good plan. You want to rule Egypt?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay, I got it. Caught up now. Emotionally ready for the rest of the story.
Joseph's suggestions were well received by Pharaoh and his advisors. As they discussed who should be appointed for the job of setting aside grain, Pharaoh said, who could do it better than Joseph? For he is a man who is obviously filled with the Spirit of God. Since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, you are the wisest man in the land. That does not track. I hereby appoint you to direct this project. You will manage my household and organize all my people. Only I will have a rank higher than yours.
Wow. Joey coming up.
Oh, the signet ring comes back because Pharaoh gives his signet ring to Joseph as a symbol of his authority. So that's the whole thing. He's like, you're essentially a family member of like the Pharaoh's family now.
Damn.
Gave Joseph the chariot of his second in command. And everybody kneeled to Joseph. And Pharaoh says, I am the king, but no one will move a hand or a foot in the entire land of Egypt without your approval.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, Joseph.
He gets a wife.
What?
Pharaoh changes his name to an unpronounceable collection of letters.
Ooh, are you sure?
Verse 45. 41:45.
41:45. Oh, wow.
An unpronounceable collection of
Pharaoh
letters.
Called Joseph's name Zaphnath Pay
Joseph.
Zaphnath Pay. How the fuck are you supposed to say that? Zaphnath Pay. Wow. Zaphnath Payane.
Can we do a bonus episode of just trying to pronounce the name?
Zaphnath Pa'ane. Knee is supposed to be. That is a lot of letters.
That's a lot. It's just a lot.
It's so many A's. There's one E in that entire thing. The rest are A's.
He's given a wife named Asenath.
Tap that ass in that, son. I mean, bounce that ass in there up and down.
And sure enough, for the next 7 years, there were bumper crops every year.
Bubba crops?
Bumper.
Girl had moxies, eh?
She had Moxie and the bumper crops.
We got a turtle slapper. We got a biscuit boxer.
So just, Joseph was right. The famine hits.
Oh, shit. Okay, so we're already... Wait. Did we already get through the 7 good years?
And that was the 7 plenteous years. Plenteous.
I did read that.
Yep.
It's hard to
That's fair.
retain this information.
I understand that. I mean, the only other thing it really says is it just that. Joseph had 2 kids. I don't really think they come back, so whatever. He names one of the kids after the fact that God took care of him and whatever, and he's been really good about putting shit aside, so they have plenty of food and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then everybody starts coming to Joseph and saying, "Hey, we're running out of food. The famine's here." And Joseph opens up the storehouses and he gives people food. So his plan works. Is working.
Wow, look at him.
The famine has reached as far as Jacob's encampment. Joseph's brother, dad.
Oh,
I know.
Ankle grabbing son
Piece
of
of
a bitch.
shit.
Ugh.
So he goes to his son. Jacob goes to his sons and says, "Hey guys."
Levi.
So there's food in Egypt, and he says to his sons, "Why are you standing around looking at one another?
Fuck Jacob, man.
I've heard there's grain in Egypt. Go down and buy some for us before we starve to death."
This guy's an asshole.
He's a piece of shit.
Hate him.
So he sends all the brothers except all of his sons except for his youngest son. So they get to Egypt and they meet up with Joseph, but they don't recognize him because it's been a minute.
And he's a new name now.
Yeah. Amashapazah Fwadali.
Come on, give the man some respect. Nath, Pay, A, Nay, Ah.
I feel like mine was just as close.
Zaphnath, Pay, A, Nay, A.
God damn it.
It's the best.
And so he pretends to not know who they are and says, "Where are they from?" They say they're from Canaan and they want to buy grain.
Oh, does Joseph pretends not to recognize him, but he does?
Yeah.
That's fun.
And he fucks with them.
Yeah, my boy Joey.
And he's like, "No, you're spies. You're here to see how weakened we are by the famine." And they freak out. They're like, no, we seriously just want food. Like, I swear
and these
to
are the
God.
sons, like Jacob's not there. It's just
Yeah, he just sent his sons.
He just sent Joseph's brothers.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And they're all freaking out. And he's like, "No, fuck you, bitches. You're fucking spies. Get the fuck out of my fucking face." And they're like, "No, I swear to God, we're not." And Joseph says, "As I said, you are spies. This is how I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will not leave Egypt unless your youngest brother comes here." Because they kept Benjamin back with fucking...
Joseph is the shit.
So Joseph says that he's going to put him in prison until they bring the brother back. Simeon gets kept behind while everybody else goes.
What a good guy, though.
Yeah. No, but you were right. You said the thing that he did. That's amazing.
And all his brothers are shit. He's like, "Guys, I'll stay behind." Like, okay,
Cool.
we're all going
Then
to
fuck
leave.
you.
You're collateral now. He's like, "I wouldn't have this any other way."
If you guys see anybody whose dick needs gets cut off, just make a note. I'll do it on the way back.
I want to do it, though. Make sure.
Just come back, get me.
Yep.
We can trade out. Somebody else can stay in prison for a minute while I
Tag
get
me in. Cutting dicks off.
So they load up all their donkeys and shit with food. And then Joseph tells his servants to put the money that his brothers paid for the food with back in their bags.
Okay.
So he's essentially giving them free food.
Wow.
Yeah. And the brothers stopped on their way back one night, and one of them opened their bag and he was like, "Oh shit, our money's here. They're gonna think that we stole from them. We are dead." they're terrified because they think that they're going to get caught. And Jacob sees all the money. He's like, you stupid pieces of shit. You're going to get us all murdered. Simeon's in prison. You want me to send Benjamin. You stole all the money. You fucked up everything. And then they run out of food, as happens in a famine.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, yeah, okay, all right.
And Jacob's like, go get more food. And they're like, motherfucker, we went over this.
Dad, you're not listening. We can get more food if we bring Benjamin.
No, go get food without the Benjamin thing.
Yeah, no, but okay.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Okay. Why?
Without Benjamin. Because the ruler of Egypt,
But I want you to do it.
said that we need the youngest son, who's Benjamin, and then we can go back to him, and he'll give us food during the famine when there's not a lot of food. So if you want to get food, all you have to do is bring Benjamin. We'll get Simeon back, and then we'll come back with food. That's all we got to do.
But I don't want you to do the Benjamin thing. So they get back and they own up to the thing about the money. They're like, hey, we got the food, but then when we left, like the money was still in the bags, but like I mean, it's like days of trips, so like we didn't come back, but like here's the money, like whatever. And they tell them not to worry about it. They said, your God, the God of your ancestors, must have put it there. We collected your money. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then they released Simeon because they brought Benjamin back, and Joseph's happy that everything's working. Sweet Simeon. Such a good guy.
Good boy.
So they have a fun little conversation with Joseph, and he asks about how their dad is, and they're like, oh yeah, because they tell him that their dad didn't want to send Benjamin because he was worried about him, and Joseph says, well, is your dad still alive? And they say yes, and Joseph's happy, and they bow to him and greeting, and Joseph's in his head is like, I had a dream about you motherfuckers bowing down to me, you pieces of shit. And they bring in Benjamin, and they say, here he is, and Joseph's super excited. He has to run away and cry in a corner because he saw his brother and he was very excited about it. He goes in a corner, he cries for a while, then he washes his face and comes out and goes, feast!
Okay.
That's what happens.
Okay.
And, this is another one of my favorite verses. Joseph ate by himself, and his brothers were served at a separate table. The Egyptians sat at their own table because the Egyptians despise Hebrews and refuse to eat with them. Joseph blows his brothers' minds by seating them in order of their age.
Joseph's having a fucking ball with this. He's the dude. He's the fucking man. He's making shit happen.
And then he gives Benjamin 5 times as much food as anybody else, which seems a little over the top just because, like, at some point, how much can you eat?
I love that.
Like, I feel like Benjamin's gonna get stressed out because he's just like, no, this is great, but just like I can't eat anymore. But like I feel like we might die if I don't. But it hurts.
I like that. Just imagine him just passing around the food. This is for thee. This is for thee. This is for thee. And then he looks at everyone else and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Benjamin. Blessed be thy fruit.
So they have their feast. They get more food.
Cool.
He fills all their sacks with as much grain as they can carry.
Does he do the gold thing again?
He does. He gives their money back.
Do they know about it this time?
No. And then he puts his personal silver cup. Well, he doesn't do it. He's having his servants do it, but whatever.
Nah.
He has his servants put his personal silver cup at the top of Benjamin's sack.
Cool.
Yeah. So the brothers
He
get
really
up.
likes Benjamin.
He does.
Like the
Benjamin's
best.
the only one that didn't try to kill him.
Yeah, I would like him too. Then
I feel like you're giving him Joseph is giving him a hair too much credit because he was just too young to be a part of it.
Nope. You gotta again.
You got to take it where you can
Take
get
it where you can.
That's
get
fair.
It.
That's fair.
He knows. He gets it.
So yeah, sends him out, and then Joseph goes to his household manager and says, "Chase after them and catch them because they stole my cup."
He's having a great time.
He's having so much fun. So they go and they get him and they bring him back, and everybody's scared shitless. And they get all their sacks down and they say, okay, cool, go through everything. We didn't take anything. Just look at whatever you want. And then they find it in Benjamin's sack. And then everybody tears their clothing because that is a sign of sadness in this time.
Sure.
Yeah. And I love this. In response to finding the cup. At this, they tore their clothes in despair, loaded the donkeys again, and returned to the city. So then he comes back and they're like, what are you trying to do, you sons of bitches? You stole it. How could you do that? And everybody's freaking out and saying, we're so sorry. Joseph finally is done having his fun and kicks out all his servants and stuff and then goes to his brothers and says, it's me.
Why does that happen?
Chapter 45. Like the first three. Verse 3 is when he actually identifies himself. He kicks everybody out
Okay.
except the brothers. And then verse 3, he says, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? And his brothers couldn't talk because they were stunned. Like, it's fucking Joseph.
What? You're the king of Egypt? It's like, yeah. You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, it's a long story.
So he tells everybody, hey, it's this famine's been going on for 2 years. It's got another 5. Bring everybody to Egypt so that way we can take care of you here.
Oh, man, Jacob. I mean, Joseph.
Yeah.
Fuck Jacob.
Yeah.
Joey's a good guy.
Yeah, Joey's a good dude.
Joey Bag of Donuts. The good guy.
And Pharaoh says to Joseph, tell your brothers to load their pack animals and return quickly to their homes in Canaan. Tell them to bring your father and all of their family. So Pharaoh's basically just giving Joseph permission to bring his whole family to Egypt so they can be kind of cared for there.
Pharaoh seems to not give a shit what Joseph does.
Really doesn't
he
care
seems to have
at
full
all.
trust and
Yeah.
faith in Joseph.
Yeah. Which, up to this point, reasonable.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He's done a good job.
He's kind of nailed everything so far.
Batting 1,000.
Yeah. Seriously. They go back to Jacob and they tell him that Joseph's still alive and that he gets to go back and Jacob says, hooray. And then so they get to Egypt.
Fuck it.
You wanna try
Sons of Reuben, Hanok and Phalu and Hezron and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon were Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul.
Shaul's mother was a Canaanite woman.
Shaul and the son of Canaanist. Oh, wow, it doesn't. How do you? What the fuck, dude? Canaan.
What the fucking shit?
Canaanitish. And the sons of Levi were Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And the sons of Judah, and Onan and Shelah and Pharez and Zara and and Onan. Oh, but and Onan died in the land of Canaan. Yeah. We watched when died.
Yeah.
It was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And the sons of Pharez were Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of it's fun, but it's like, wow, this hurts my brain. There's so many more.
I know. I told you.
How fun is it? Oh, no. So let's just go to 29 because this goes up from
26. The total number of Jacob's direct descendants who went with him to Egypt, not counting his sons' wives, was 66.
66 is what mine says, which I don't even know what that means.
I think a score is 20.
Okay. Yes, it's 66. Hail Satan.
Yep. Yeah.
It's, Judah.
And then we're back in it, and Jacob arrives in Israel.
Oh, so that was just like a foreshadowing of what's all gonna happen with all these fucking
Pretty
kids.
much, yeah.
And we already knew what happened to and Onan.
Yeah.
They're fucking dead. God just took one of them.
Yeah. Joseph goes to the Pharaoh to announce that his brothers are there, and he went to him and said, just make sure you tell the Pharaoh that you're farmer or shepherds or whatever, because he needs to know that. So they go, and the Pharaoh says, what's your occupation? And they say they're shepherds, and they want to live in Egypt because there's no food in Canaan because of the fucking famine. And the Pharaoh says, cool, Joseph, pick the best place in all of Egypt, and your family can live there. I love you to death. Do whatever you want. I trust you. If anybody in your family has special skills, they need to be in charge of shit, put them in charge of shit. And then Joseph brings Jacob to the Pharaoh, and Jacob blesses the Pharaoh. And the
Jacob blesses the Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the other way around?
No.
Okay.
Because, no.
Is Jacob giving over his birthrights?
130 years ago, I stole these for soup.
You can have these now. How good was the soup? It was fine. It was okay. It was all right.
It worked. Joseph collected all the money in Egypt in Canaan in exchange for grain. All of it.
It's a lot of money.
All the money.
Okay.
When the people of Egypt and Canaan ran out of money, They came to Joseph crying again for food and said, "Our money is gone. Give us bread. Why should we die?" "Well then," Joseph replied, "since your money's gone, give me your livestock, and then I'll give you food in exchange for that." So they gave their livestock to Joseph in exchange for the food. Soon all the horses, flocks, herds, and donkeys of Egypt were in Pharaoh's possession. But at least they were able to purchase food for the next year.
Wow. Okay. That's a thing that this book says.
The next year they came again and said, "Our money is gone and our livestock is yours. We have nothing left but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your very eyes? Buy us and our land in exchange for food.
Oh boy.
We will then become servants to the Pharaoh. Just give us grain so our lives may be saved."
Okay.
So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. All the Egyptians sold their fields because the famine was so severe and their land belonged
Like
to
modern
Pharaoh.
day Egypt, like the whole country of Egypt, the same size.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like 1/16 of the size.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's all they knew.
Right.
Right.
There's other people in Egypt, but they don't know about
Right.
them. It's just,
Yeah.
can't walk that far.
But the Pharaoh owns everything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's kind of a prick because he set himself up. He was like, "Cool, we're going to be able to take care of everything." And he's like, "I want literally every penny you have, literally every animal you own, and then you."
Is that the Pharaoh or is that Jacob or Joseph's plan?
The only land he didn't buy was that belonging to the priests, for they were assigned food from Pharaoh and didn't need to sell their land. They so they kind of try to make it better. So essentially, he buys all the land, but they get to, obviously, they keep farming it, and they just give 1/5 of their harvest to Pharaoh and keep 4/5 for themselves. So it's like a tax, basically. Like they sell their land, but they're essentially just doing everything and just paying a tax on it, which is
Okay.
like, it's still kind of fucked
Are we
up.
still in
because they would've
47?
died. Yeah, 47 is long.
Okay, no, that's true. I'm just gonna every
Yeah,
time we
please.
switch to a new chapter,
Yeah.
let me know because I got all the years. I didn't even realize, but I
Oh,
have
shit.
like every single chapter has a year.
Fuck yeah.
by
Okay,
it. So
cool.
now we can be like, instead of just like, and some time passes, I'll be like, exactly 6 years passed.
Love it. Yeah, so there you go. The 1/5. Oh, but priests still don't pay tax.
Ah.
So the people of Israel settled in the land of Goshen in Egypt, and before long they began to prosper there, and their population grew rapidly. Jacob lived for 17 years after his arrival in Egypt, so he was 147 years old when he died. Jacob is almost dead.
Oh, so close, so close, so
I know.
close.
As the time of his death drew near, he called his son Joseph to him and said, "If you are pleased with me, swear most solemnly that you will honor this last request. Do not bury me in Egypt." He wants to be buried. It's $400. Don't worry about it. Land. That's where Jacob wants to be buried.
Ah, way to go, man. I remember that was a while ago.
So Joseph promises. One day, not long after this, word came to Joseph his father was failing rapidly. So this is actually, I can just do this. We don't need to read the whole goddamn thing. Jacob's almost fucking blind. He's falling apart. He's shitting his pants. Just drooling piece of shit. Useless asshole.
trick?
And Joseph brings him his 2 sons and says, "Will you bless my kids before they die?"
All right, sure.
And he puts the kids in front of him.
Okay. Yeah.
And he says, "This is the oldest son,
Okay.
so he gets the better blessing.
Yeah, we'll
this is
see.
the youngest son, so he gets the shittier blessing."
Yeah, I know how this works.
And then Jacob goes, "Nope."
Does he really?
Crosses his fucking arms.
Till the very end. Gotcha, bitch.
And Joseph like physically grabs him and goes, "No, Dad.
Okay.
This is the old one."
Got it. This is the younger one?
Yep.
Son of a bitch. Can't stop Jacob from being Jacob, gosh damn it.
And Jacob just straight up was like, "No, the younger one's gonna have more shit."
Jacob, you're fucking shit up,
Fucking
bro.
piece of shit.
He's an asshole. Why do they even need his blessing? Joseph has more blessings
He
than he
does.
does.
I don't know.
I'm gonna get the younger one more shit. Do you guys have any stew lying around?
And then Jacob said to Joseph, "I'm about to die. God will be with you. He'll take you back to Canaan. And I give you an extra portion beyond what I have given your brothers."
Oh, about fucking time.
Yeah, right? So then Jacob calls. Now we're in chapter 49.
Okay, 49 is in the year circa 1689 BC.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the 47 was in 1706. So now we're 7 years
Cool.
have passed.
Dude.
Chapter 49.
Yeah.
We're so close.
I know.
Oh my God.
know.
We're almost done with
I know.
Genesis.
I know.
What?
Yes.
I didn't even realize. Oh, this is so nice.
Oh,
There's still so much more.
There is.
But we're almost done with Genesis.
Yeah. No, we almost get to pretend like it's going to be better.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that moment.
know.
Where spirits will be lifted. Why does this look like a poem?
Because this is Jacob blessing each of his sons.
Can we say it like a hymn? Like you would sing a psalm?
Come and listen, O sons of Jacob.
Gather yourselves together and hear ye sons of Jacob,
Sons of
and hearken unto Israel your father.
Reuben, you are my oldest son.
It's a way to sing without actually singing. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength.
The child of my vigorous youth. Do we want to read all the blessings?
No. Oh, wait. Except for this one, because
Okay.
number 5, 49:5 is for my boys. It's for my boys.
Yeah.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations.
It's a shitty. It's not even.
Oh,
It's
my
not a
soul,
blessing.
come not thou into thy secret. Unto their assembly, mine honor be not thou ununited. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. They deserved better.
They did.
Wow.
Jacob just had to get that one last shitty cock fucking dick.
Didn't Jacob also tell them to do this?
No, he got angry at them for doing it because he was afraid people would be mad at them. He's never not been a pussy. Like he literally,
Just like his father and his father's father.
father.
Okay. All right. You know what? Fuck Jacob. Fuck Jacob forever. Simeon and Levi, they deserve better.
But Judah, your brothers will praise you. You'll defeat your enemies, and all your relatives will bow before you. Thanks for murdering that prostitute that was your fucking daughter-in-law.
Almost murdering that prostitute.
I hate this.
Yeah, this is bad.
So much.
This is very, very upsetting.
Fucking Judah is a gigantic piece of fucking shit.
Yeah, this
but
is-
because Jacob's a fucking tiny cocked fucking pussy who wouldn't take fucking action and protect his fucking kid, and his fucking sons did it for him and fuck people up like they fucking did. Fuck.
Jacob's an asshole.
I
man. This is
wish
upsetting.
Jacob had been circumcised and then murdered in that order, but very quickly, one after the other.
Like. Simeon and Levi were good fucking
They were.
dudes. They did. And this is supposed to be a time for blessings.
Yeah.
You're going to throw curses in the mix while you're at it?
Fucking asshole,
You could
man.
just not give a blessing and I'd be like, oh, well, that's a bummer. But now you're going to immediately curse Simeon and Levi for being the appropriate level of angry.
Fucking verse 30.
That's what happens because women aren't fucking people in this goddamn book yet. And Simeon and Levi were feminists in the fucking year. I need to remember what chapter that happened because I can get the exact year of when Simeon and Levi
It was a
were.
while ago.
It was
Yeah.
a minute ago. But I have like titles and stuff. So Descendants of Esau. No, that's way further back. Sons of Judah?
No, it was before that.
Before- oh, yeah,
Oh, Revenge Against Shechem. 34.
34, chapter 34 was in the year 1732. Motherfucking BC, sorry, 1732 BC. Motherfucking Simeon and Levi were goddamn
They were heroes.
righteous motherfuckers in 1732, and now they're getting cursed for it. Like
Verse 33,
a
Jacob.
long time later, though.
Yeah, a long time later.
This is
Yeah,
1689.
Joseph had not let that go. I don't know. Jacob hadn't let it
It's
go.
like 50 years later, and you're still going to curse him? Fuck you.
All right,
man.
guys. All right. I'm going to say something very happy for all of us.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay, yeah, we got happiness.
Verse 33.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob fucking dies.
Yeah. Jacob. is
Get Genesis
dead.
49:33 tattooed on you.
Fuck Jacob.
Jacob's fucking finally goddamn dead.
Piece of shit, motherfucker. Motherfucking shit.
It's almost over, you guys.
Oh, dude, we're so close. I can see it. I can look at all that blankness on my
I
page.
know.
I'm just gonna kiss it. part of the book because there's nothing there. This is my favorite part. There's no words on it. It's really nice.
So Joseph goes to Pharaoh and says, "Hey man, my dad asked to be buried somewhere else. Can I dip out for a minute and go take care of that?"
You don't have to ask me for anything, dude. You could just do it. You're the best.
That's pretty much what Pharaoh says. He's just like, "Yeah man, go for it." It's cool.
I like Pharaoh a lot.
I know. So they do what he said. They take his body. They bury it. I'm sure it has a name or some shit.
I forget what that land was called. Who cares?
A
Todd?
Machpelah.
Where you at? Oh,
5012.
Machpelah.
Then Joseph goes back to Egypt with his brothers and everybody that had been there for the funeral. But they're afraid that now that their dad's dead, Joseph is going to fucking get his revenge. He's just been waiting for his dad to die, apparently.
Oh, so they're going to try to kill Joseph now?
Probably. So they sent a message to Joseph. "Before your father died, he instructed us to say to you, 'Forgive your brother for the great evil they did to you.' So we, the servants of God, your father, beg you to forgive us."
Why wouldn't he? He's fucking in charge of shit now. Why would he give a shit about that stuff?
And he gets super sad and he says, only God can judge you. I'm not here to fucking worry about shit that's already happened.
That Tupac song?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, in the book it says, "Am I God to judge and punish you?" But I mean, it's the same message.
Mm-hmm.
He tells him not to be afraid. He says, "Look, I'm going to take care of you. It's all good." So Joseph and his brothers and their families continued to live in Egypt. Joseph was 110 years old when he died. He lived to see 3 generations of descendants of his son and the children of Manasseh.
Where you at?
5023.
Joseph saw Ephraim's children, another generation, the children also of Machir and the son Machir? Machir? Machir?
Oh.
The son of
I got nothing.
Manasseh.
Oh, I think that might have been. It doesn't say this, but it's probably one of his concubines or something. Because
Okay.
the next verses they were treated as well as his own sons.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably just Those are his other kids that he had from other ladies because it's okay to bang other ladies. This book makes perfect sense.
I will say in Joseph's case, he can have concubines.
No, sure, but just like, have a consistent goddamn message, you fucking piece of shit book.
Yeah, no, for sure. But this is the Old Testament. It doesn't count.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. "Soon I'll die," Joseph told his brothers, "but God will surely come for you to lead you out of this land of Egypt. He will bring you back to the land he vowed to give to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Then Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath, and he said, "When God comes to lead us back to Canaan, you must take my body back with you." So Joseph died at the age of 110. They embalmed him, and his body was placed in a coffin in Egypt. The end of Genesis.
Oh, God.
We fucking did it, man.
We did Genesis.
How's it feel?
Oh, I feel so good to be done with that
Right?
book. It